Beasley Media Group Station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. It's time now for Cuz Radio.
What up, Cuz?
Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
Talking with the Cuz.
Go Cuz. How you doing?
Stairs rips one into the night.
Stolen by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Look, Cuz, don't even try it, okay?
Now here's Anthony Gargano.
Why don't you get the hell out of here, Cuz?
And a good Monday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cuz. Anthony will be back tomorrow. Don't you worry. So Anthony out today. I'm in his chair. Ray Dunn back in my seat again. Thank you, Ray, for doing this. We appreciate it. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I know Miami Heat fans, how many there are, they've had a great weekend. They're up 3-0 in the series yesterday. Celtics. So we will get into that at some point today because I know it's painful, but I also know people are happy that it's not the Celtics that are winning. Just unbelievable. The guy's up 3-0. Jimmy Butler is up 3-0 in the series with a bunch of role players over the Boston Celtics, who the Sixers had a lead against in the fourth quarter of Game 6 on their home court. No, I'm still not over it. No, I am still not over it. It's funny. Anthony's ready to move on, right? And I don't blame him. It's hard doing this every day and talking about a team that lost every day and broke your heart every day. You could be doing worse things, but it's terrible having to talk about a team that broke your heart this many times, this many years, not just this many days, this many years. But I'm still not necessarily ready. So I think tomorrow we'll be diving in a little bit deeper into the Eagles. I do have some Eagles today. I have some Philly stuff today as well. But I kind of want to not really close the book on the Sixers because it's always going to be creaked open because of everything that's going to be going on. There's going to be a wild off season for the Sixers. Obviously, James Harden is probably not going to be back here. They need to find a new head coach. They need to move on from Tobias Harris. They need to find new role players. There's going to be a lot to talk about with the Sixers during the off season, but that's probably not going to be for another while. Until then, it's rumors. And that's what I want to start the show with today. On Friday, we had a rumor. And I will say this. I was never, ever going to welcome any sort of Joel Embiid trade topic conversation. Let me say this again. If you called in and said it's time to trade Joel Embiid, I wasn't going to hang up on you. Like, all right, you think that's the case? That's the case. I personally do not want to trade Joel Embiid. So I was not going to come on here and say, do you want to trade Joel Embiid 610? Like, I don't want to do that. I wasn't going to do it until there was some sort of rumor. Because here's the deal. It's one thing if you just say it out of emotion. They lose games 6 and 7, and you're frustrated, and it's the same story every single year where the Sixers lose in the second round, and we leave ourselves disappointed and wondering what the hell's next, how are you going to fix this team next? So I wasn't going to welcome it until we saw some sort of rumor, and we got one on Friday. Stephen Bondy, who covers the Knicks for the New York Daily News, he put out like a pretty vague tweet, I guess you could say, on Friday. And this was after Keith Pompey tweeted out about James Harden and how he was going to be going back to the Rockets. Keith Pompey's tweet read as following: Sixers, James Harden expected to reunite with the Rockets in free agency, sources say, and then it was his story with the Inquirer. So Bondy then quote tweets it and says, been told since mid-season that Joel Embiid is the guy to watch for the Knicks, and Philly's playoff flameout only intensified that belief. Now, I'm still trying to think, hold on a second, how does this rumor start? Because mid-season, things were going very well for the Sixers. Remember, the Sixers had the best record since December 1st in the NBA. From December 1st to the end of the season, they had the best record. Now, what was mid-season? Was mid-season Christmas when the James Harden report came out and maybe Joel Embiid's like, oh, man, I'm sick of this thing. Maybe I want out. Maybe Joel Embiid never wanted out. Maybe there's people involved with the Knicks, like his former agent that's running the show in New York. Maybe they want Joel Embiid. So I can come on here today and let's say I'm Dave Dombrowski and say, I want Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout to come to the Phillies. So should somebody that covers the Phillies tweet out, I've been hearing Ohtani and Trout, their name being rumored with the Phillies. Now, the thing is, the Embiid aspect, I guess it kind of makes sense that you could eventually move on from it. Now, I don't remember for the life of me a player winning the MVP for their respective sport and the entire city of that team, well, not the entire city, but a lot of people of the city of that team talking about trading him or at least just welcoming the idea of trading him. I don't remember a player winning the MVP and then people wanting him out. I don't remember that in any sport, any city. But I know we're crazy, and that's why I love us. So that report comes out on Friday. And that's the first time I figured, all right, let's welcome the conversation. But I need to ask this question today at 610-632-0975. Yes, are you doing it, yes or no? But for the people that have been talking about trading Joel Embiid for years now, right? They're like, we talk about our buddy Vince all the time. Our buddy Vince wants to build around guards. I've told you about my weak moment I had 2 years ago when the Grizzlies and Warriors were facing off in the playoffs. This was 2 playoffs again. And I saw Steph Curry and Ja Morant going head-to-head, nonstop, banging threes, hitting pull-up jump shots, driving the lane. It was a fourth quarter that I can never forget, watching just those 2 guys go to work against each other's teams. Like it was incredible. And I said, damn, I kind of want that. But I don't want to trade Joel Embiid in the process, right? I don't want to also do that at the same time. I just want some sort of guard where I can go, hey, here, take the rock. But you can't really build around a guard when you have Joel Embiid. Maybe you can. Maybe we realize you have to. But at that time, I did not want to move on from Joel Embiid, and I still don't. But for the people that say yes to trading Joel Embiid, today's conversation is going to be, would you trade him to the New York Knicks? Now, here's the deal. You trade him, and I know a lot of people get excited about that idea, but he's now not only going to still be in the conference, he's going to be in your division. And I know divisions in basketball don't matter anymore. The only thing is you face them 4 times. And I know 4 games out of 82 does not really seem like much. But I'm talking about the sheer fact of Embiid, and we know when he's motivated what he can do. Embiid dropping 40 or 50 against the Sixers 4 times next year. Nobody can guard him. We talk about that all the time. Yeah, you can find ways to slow him down, but nobody can really guard him one-on-one. Do you think Paul Reed, if he's the guy next year, let's say he's the starting center, do you think Paul Reed is going to stop Joel Embiid from dropping 50 against you next year if he's on the New York Knicks? No. But for everybody that said it, whether it was emotionally or they truly believe that the Sixers should move on from Joel Embiid, the only team at this point, May 22nd, the only team that we've heard so far is the New York Knicks. Everybody that has called in the last couple of days saying, trade him out west, just get him out of here, start over, trade him to Portland, get Shaedon Sharp, get that pick, do all this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's great and all. But we haven't heard a single rumor about the Portland Trailblazers being in on Joel Embiid. We didn't hear a single rumor about anybody being in on Joel Embiid until Friday. So if you were to potentially make a move, you got to have another dance partner. And right now, the only team is former agents with the Knicks. We all know about the legend of Worldwide Wes and how powerful of a man he is in the NBA. We know that Joel Embiid loves this area. Guy built a house in Margate, for crying out loud. New York's not that far away. Maybe he goes, I can make that work. I'm now in the Mecca. I'm now in New York. I am now the king of New York. And not fake New York, Brooklyn. Like that team, I mean. But he could be on the New York Knicks. Wow, I could bring New York Knicks basketball back. Maybe he starts getting intrigued because he knows people that are involved there. Are you as intrigued to potentially move on from Joel Embiid to a team that you're going to see 4 times a year? And to a team that just because of where they're from, we hate. Anything that's New York or Boston, we hate them. You're going to give up your best player? Now, again, let me make this clear. And hello, YouTube, because Anthony's out. We're back on YouTube today. I'm not trading Joel Embiid. I'm still trying to find a way to make this work. James Harden opting out is a godsend, as long as Daryl Morey decides not to bring him back. And the Keith Pompey report, I believe in Keith. I love Keith. So Keith says he's expecting him to go back to Houston. All right. What's next? That was the thing that bothered me the most after the Sixers got eliminated from the playoffs. I did not know what's next. I had no idea what's next, other than potentially trading Tobias Harris for something. Now that James Harden is opting out and not re-signing here on a 4-year deal, expected, now you have some more wiggle room. Now you have some more stuff to work with. You can do a sign and trade. You can just sign a player outright free agency. Kyrie Irving's a name that a lot of people are excited by, even though I want nothing to do with him, even though he's a hell of a basketball player when he's playing. So I'm good keeping Joel Embiid. I know that it's not a 90% say yes, 10% say trade him, right? No, I know there's a good amount of people that want to move on from Joel Embiid. So we'll start right now because there is only one rumored team as the New York Knicks. Would you do it? I'm saying hell no, trade him to begin with. But you think I want to trade him in division and see that guy 4 times and maybe see him in the playoffs? Nah, that's not happening to me. 610-632-0975. Excited thoughts on it. We'll be talking more about the Sixers, not just Joel Embiid. I got some stuff on the Eagles later on. I got some stuff on the Phillies later on. We'll have the Vault, of course, at 11 o'clock that Ray put together. Looking forward to that. But I want to start off with this Joel Embiid conversation. One that I hate having, but that the fact that there's actually a rumor, I know Mark Stein shot it down, but it was one of these, this is just speculation, ... But it could still happen. So what kind of shoot down is that? Is it happening or not? I will say this. If I'm the Sixers, I'm even just putting out some sort of tweet about loving Joel Embiid. I'm doing anything I can to keep this guy happy. We know how emotional he can be. If he goes, hey, Daryl, where's this coming from? It's one thing to keep things in-house, and Daryl just goes, nah, dude, trust me, we're not doing anything like that. But I don't know how his mind works. He's on social media. He reads everything. He told us about the Ben Simmons situation. We had Joel on 2 years ago during Media Day. He was on with the Cuz, and he straight up said, I read everything. I know as much as you do. I just read everything. The guy follows everything. And if he starts seeing his name floated out there, you don't think he's going to get emotional about it? Let's discuss it. 610-632-0975. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And let's have a great week because it's Memorial Day weekend coming up. And once again, the weather sucks. 610-632-0975. Manager Sal Chunas filling in for the Cuz right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies take 2 of 3 from the Cubs. I'm Ray Dunn. This update's brought to you by Discover. Discover credit cards do something awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you earned doubled. See terms and check it out for yourself.
7:20, 97.5 The Fanatic. For our YouTube family, you see some great friends of mine. Well, friend and former neighbor, Jamie Lynch and Pat Egan behind me. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have a great week, all right? I'm going to tell you about the 10 o'clock hour. Bye, Bobby. 10 o'clock hour brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows, plus make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 months. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. I've always said I think the shows off air are better than the shows on air. If we had a running camera during the breaks, first off, I don't know how that would go. But it'd be more entertaining. It'd be more entertaining, that's for sure. But, that's life, right, Ray? Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
So let me ask you, first things first. Are you at least entertaining the idea of trading Joel Embiid, or are you like me where you're just like, nah, I'm not doing that?
No. You know how long it took to get that superstar talent. I'm not bothering with that again.
Okay. So you and I are on the same page there. Now let me follow up by this. If you were entertaining the idea of trading Joel Embiid, would you in your right mind trade him to the New York Knicks?
Not a chance.
See, now I find it funny, right? On a normal day, if I ask the question, would you trade Joel Embiid, yes or no, 610-632-0975, the lines would light up, and there'd be people like, yeah, trade him. He's soft. He's too emotional. You can't win with him. He needs to be down low more. I'm not disagreeing with some of these things. Like, I'm not. I'm just saying that's the kind of stuff that I would get, right? Same thing with the Ben Simmons conversation, right? Would you trade Ben Simmons, yes or no? And it was, hey, he can't shoot. Now, you ignore all the things he did well, because remember, he did do things well before he went off the cliff mentally, right? Well, fake. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but, don't be posting a freaking photo on your Instagram about the Sixers losing to the Celtics and claim that, whatever. That guy really bothered me, all right? Knowing people actually go through stuff and then that, whatever. So we had the same conversations with Ben Simmons, and people would only give the side, like the reason why they would want to trade him. And it was he's not a winner and he doesn't shoot, all right? Even though he did a lot of great things. Joel Embiid, he's soft, he's often injured. He needs to get down low more. You can't win with the center. I don't know about the center part. Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets are up 3-0 in the Western Conference Finals. You might be able to win with the center where the ball goes through that player. Maybe Embiid needs to adapt his game a little bit more to Jokic, or maybe he needs a Jamal Murray. Maybe he needs other guys around him that can score. I don't know. To me, I would rather continue to build with Joel Embiid and you hear me week finding a score. Sixers haven't had one of those ever in my life. All right? With all due respect to George Lynch. Like, come on, man. I've been alive for 29 years. I don't have a wing player that can score. So maybe I would want to try to do that first. But normally I would ask the question, would you trade Joel Embiid? And a lot of people would say yes. It's crickets when it's about the Knicks. Because it's easy for you to say, yeah, trade him. Trade him to Oklahoma City. Get him out west. Give me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't know if the Thunder would do it. They might want to build around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't know. Yeah, trade him to the Jazz. You're not going to get anything in return, really, except for picks, I guess. But, trade him to the Jazz. He's out west. I'm asking you the question. For those who want to trade Joel Embiid, for those who want to build around guards, right? Like my buddy Vince. Joel Embiid. For those of you who are crazy enough to want to do another process and start all over again, and when I'm 34 and when Cooper's 6, right, maybe we'll see a playoff team again. I don't want to do that, okay? Because I have a playoff team now that is still close. The team that is down 3-0 right now in the Eastern Conference Finals came back and beat you in the fourth quarter, Game 6, and then blew you out in Game 7. Now, would the series be different if the Sixers were in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat? I would have picked them to win. I would have been shocked they were down 3-0. I'm shocked that Boston's down 3-0. Stunned. But I can't give up just yet And I'm damn well not giving him up to the New York Knicks. We're going to play him 4 times. And now New York Knicks basketball is going to be relevant again. They show the scenes outside of Madison Square Garden when they win a playoff game. What happened to them? They didn't make it long. Could you imagine if the Knicks were actually relevant? What would happen there? I could not stomach that. All right? I could not. So I want to know, for the trade Joel Embiid crowd that is out there, would you trade him to the New York Knicks? Again, the report came out Friday. Stephen Bondy covers the Knicks for the New York Daily News. He put out a pretty vague tweet saying since midseason he's been hearing Joel Embiid's name rumored to the New York Knicks. I'm not doing it at all. Okay, I'm not trading him. Period. So Ray, I just now the next question is, all right, what's next? Because if I'm hanging on to him, obviously this team's not good enough right now. This team's not good enough, and they need to find. And I'm glad now the Harden news is out there that he's leaving. He's probably going to go back to Houston. I'm glad that we know that there is more opportunity for the Sixers right now. I'm not going to sit here and say, I feel so much better about the future. I'm not going to do that. But I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't a little bit happier today. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm happier in the sense that we've got the clarity and that it seems like there's going to be some sort of a market for him to make $200 million. Someone pay him, look for him to get 4 years because that's not what I'm giving him, and it looks like that's what Houston would go down the road for. So I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that being out there. And now you can kind of focus your efforts elsewhere. Obviously, you lose a player of Harden's talent. I think the one question for me was whether or not he would ever be willing to play the way he did this year again, whether he'd be able to accept that role, look to be more of a distributor, because everything that has been, kind of pushed out there since the end of the season leans to the idea that he wants to be back to playing the way James Harden before he was partnered up with Joel Embiid, and I think that's a partnership that's beneficial. I took a call yesterday. Someone said that they wanted to drop Embiid down and let Harden be more the focal point. I'm not at that point. I think the reigning MVP should be your focal point, and you should let the 33-year-old aging guard kind of move along with his career.
Let me also ask to that caller, when's the last time Joel Embiid caught a lob and finished it?
Yeah.
That was like 95% of the offense in Houston. It was James Harden. It was either step back three or create a shot, layup, and if the layup wasn't there, he floated it to Clint Capella. Like that was that offense. Like Joel Embiid doesn't do that kind of stuff. Joel Embiid needs the ball in his hands, which is why I understand why people get bothered by that Embiid needs the ball in his hands for the offense to run. But that's why, the Harden thing, and when that came out, Harden thinks he got rid of some of his game for the benefit of the team and Joel Embiid. Well, if anything, I go, well, yeah, that's great. I'm glad that he did that. He had a very good season.
Yep.
20 and 10. Led the league in assists. Like, he had a very good season. I don't know why he's complaining about that. I'm not signing him to 4 years.
No.
I would have held on to him for the next 2 if he didn't opt out. I would have probably been like, oh, man, he opted in. But he still had a very good season. There's no way in hell I'm signing him to 4 more years. Now, 76ers won on Twitter. This sports community is stupid. If anyone wants to trade Embiid to the Knicks or anywhere, they are idiots who don't need to watch hoops. This is not me. This is 76ers won. Should the Celtics trade Brown and Tatum because they haven't been consistent all playoffs? Be smarter. They have not been consistent all playoffs. They're now down 3-0.
They're having that conversation up there.
Oh, for sure. I know people that listened to Boston radio when the Sixers were up 3-2 in the series. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about trading Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Because he was too inconsistent in the playoffs. Look, we're cousins to Boston. We're not that much different. The biggest difference is rings. They have a lot of them. And we don't, unfortunately. Right? I wish we were Boston with the amount of success that they have had. But that's the thing. Like, he's not wrong when he says that. Like, we get so emotional. And we react so heavily. But in recent years, here's the thing. It's worked out. A lot of emotion around Carson Wentz. A ton of it. What happens? They trade him to Indianapolis. Jalen Hurts, if he doesn't get hurt, probably wins MVP or is closer to Patrick Mahomes' votes. And the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, just 2 years removed of Carson Wentz. The Sixers get rid of Ben Simmons. And I was a Ben Simmons guy. The Sixers get rid of him, and he's barely played. And as much, I can't go hatred that James Harden got, but, just people weren't thrilled that it was James Harden. Guy had a hell of a season this year. So it's kind of worked, the emotion with the star players. Now, we had a caller that dropped off, and I wish I could talk to him, but he was talking about how, the star players, we get bothered by the star players too much. And that's something that, I've been talking about for years. You look at any team. Bryce Harper, now he's a god right now because he comes back from Tommy John and he's playing well, right? But when Bryce Harper first came here, people, were bothered by the money. And he had a great start. And then I remember May and June, he was slow, right? And people were bothered by it and quick to complain about the contract. Oh, my God, it's the next 13 years? Come on, man. Leave it be. Last year, people wanted to start Garrett Stubbs over JT Realmuto. And I laugh because Garrett Stubbs should start 40 games. And JT Realmuto should start 120. And look what ended up happening. Sometimes we get too emotional to a fault. Nick Castellanos sucked last year. Oh, he's never going to be good again. Give it some time. And look, he did have a rough start to the season, except for opening day. But he's coming out of it a little bit. We just get so emotional when it comes to higher caliber players and guys that aren't homegrown. Tyrese Maxey had a better playoff than previous years. Still not perfect. I wanted to trade Tyrese Maxey last year for Kevin Durant. All right? Kevin Durant. In the conversation of, if you had two best starting fives all time, he might be on one of the two. No, I don't want him. I want Tyrese Maxey. Bill with Tyrese Maxey. I love Tyrese Maxey. Great kid. Hell of a ball player. It's Kevin Durant. All right? Come on. I can't believe, we're actually having that conversation. But people didn't want to do it. We're obsessed with him. We're obsessed with homegrown talent with the Phillies. We're obsessed with Flyers prospects because they're ours and they're coming up through the woodwork and they're going to shine. And then they rarely do, which is why they stink. I don't understand our weird relationship with star players. I really don't. I never have. I would love to sit down with people and explore their minds. I get it. The better the player, the higher your expectations are for that player. I totally understand. But the way we reacted to Joel Embiid, you would think the 6 games that he played against the Celtics, he was terrible in all 6. He wasn't. The guy had 3 incredible games and then fell apart. You would think James Harden had a terrible season. He didn't. He was great. He actually had a very good season. He almost spawned the playoffs. Our relationship with star players does confuse me. I mean, I don't know. You just said Stubbsy. Are you one of these you love the role player guys? I know you were all day cared up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's not like you're dismissing the stars. I'm not dismissing the stars. I think it's more fun to see a role player shine. Because you just kind of expect it out of the stars. You get when you see a role player do it. It's a lot of fun. I wasn't sitting here saying, I wasn't one of the ones that freaked out when they traded Vierling and Maton. Oh, no, the young guys. I love those guys. A lot of fun. But you got Gregory Soto out of it. I'm not sitting here and telling you Stubbs should play every day. But when Stubbs hits a walk-off and gets all fired up, or when Stubbs has a big moment and gets all excited, like when he hits a triple, it's like, Stubbsy, he's doing something good.
Yeah, Harper hits a grand slam. He gets excited, too.
Yeah, I know.
Is that not as cool because it's Bryce Harper getting excited compared to Garrett Stubbs?
But when Bryce Harper steps up to the plate, you expect amazing things to happen. When Garrett Stubbs steps up to the plate, you're
You
like,
don't.
I hope he gets on base.
Yeah, I get that.
It's the euphoria
Like that
of the difference
Marlins,
of
that home
expectation.
run against the Marlins last year, to me, was the Jake Elliott moment, where like it kicked things into a new gear. Right? And I go, all right, this is great. You need role players on your team.
You need vibesmen. That's what you need.
You need vibesmen. You need cogs. You need whatever word you want to think of. You need them on your team. I'm just confused with how we overlove these guys. And it's not just us.
No.
Reggie Miller talked about Peyton Pritchard like he was Larry Bird.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here comes the X Factor, Peyton Pritchard. Why? Because he's a little white dude that can shoot. I don't get that.
No.
I really don't. So my thing is, I get it. We hold better players to higher standards, as we should. But sometimes our standards are ridiculous. Like, you won MVP. I want you, Ray, to try to think of a player in any sport that won MVP any year, and that city wanted them traded after the season ended. Can you think of one? No.
I'm struggling over here. I got the trades that have been made post MVP season, but I wasn't quite around when those happened. So
The
I don't
following year?
Yeah, the following year.
How many were there? You have these?
I have these. So we have MVPs who've been traded. I whittled it down to ones that got traded after their MVP season. Both of them involved the Sixers. First one, 1968. Wilt gets traded from the Sixers to the Lakers, which he had won 3 straight MVPs. You know, they had their when he came back to Philadelphia with the new team. Good for him. And then 1982, Moses from the Rockets to the 76ers.
Okay.
There you go. That's your list. Do I know whether people were running Wilt out of town? I don't think so.
You should do some more research, Mr. Journalist.
I'm going to go pull up some old tweets. See what they got from 1967. What was your Wilt take?
The way people were offended if you ever said Embiid is like Wilt, you know, I guess nobody wanted to run him out of town. But Joel Embiid, people want to run out of town. And that confuses me. 610-632-0975. Let's talk to Jordan in Cherry Hill. Jordan, you're on the Fanatic.
Yo, what's up, Tunis?
What's up, Jordan?
No, it's the Guru, bro.
What's up, dude?
What's going on? So I figured instead of tweeting that, I'd call in. The Embiid situation. You know where I stand on the Embiid situation. I'm not a supporter of Embiid at this point.
Yep.
I think we've seen what we're going to get. I feel my whole thing with it is, unless we somehow get Dame around him and maybe we get the hope, but that's such a long shot, we know where we're going to plateau. So the whole blow it up is just what you have to do. I don't understand the logic of, okay, let's get to the second round, maybe the third round, but we know we're not good enough. So if we can't fit the puzzle pieces together, why are we trying to force it and not step back as intelligent sports human beings and say, this isn't going to work. We got to try it again.
All right, so you're going to blow it up. You've no picks right now. So you trade Joel Embiid, you try to get picks, and you're going to get picks 15 to 30. Like, you're not going to get top 10 picks from any of these teams because they're going to be good enough with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid wins 50 games on any team.
So you're telling me that you'd rather just be stuck in a no man's land?
I don't think I'm stuck. Like, I still believe that there are ways to try to get through this. You're going to finally get out of Tobias Harris's contract. Finally. That was a mistake. Harden opting out. Now you have some more flexibility. If Harden was coming back for 4 years, I'd be terrified.
I agree with that 100%. I do not want Harden back. But keep in mind, Tobias was our best defensive player. He was like a glove a lot of the playoffs. So
yeah,
we
he was a glove, and Tatum still dropped 50 in Game 7.
Well, he's Jason Tatum. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. When there's other games, and we also were, I mean, to say the other side, we were 2 Harden shots away from getting swept in that series, keep in mind.
Yeah.
It took brilliant performances. You can't say that on the other side. The Celtics were the way more dominant team in that series.
I can't go way more dominant when the Sixers had the lead in Game 6. They just blew it.
That was heartbreaking. That took me a while.
They just blew it. They should have won that. I'm not over yet. They should have won the series. Now, Jordan, I'll ask you the question. Because you're somebody that wants to move on from Joel Embiid. Right now, there's only one team that's even been mentioned. It's the New York Knicks. Would you make that move?
See, I don't mind it because we know how to stop Embiid. If you force him to put the ball on the floor, the majority of the time he's going to turn it over or throw up and hope that the refs are going to call a foul. So knowing his weaknesses, why do you mind playing against the guy if you know Who? Jalen Brunson? Is Jalen Brunson really going to win a championship with Embiid? I don't think so.
He might be
So what
better
do you
with
think?
Joel Embiid. And I appreciate the call, Guru. I do. My man does great work. I'm not trading to begin with, but to the New York Knicks, where I got to face him 4 times a season, potentially see him in the playoffs. And it's great to say, oh, we know his weaknesses. What if he gets better than that? He's gotten better the last 3 years. He has been. But that's the thing. Like, he wants to blow it up. Is it really smart to blow it up right now?
No.
You don't have any picks.
And what are you getting? Like, again, in this Embiid scenario, we could talk about teams. We could talk about just trading him. What are you getting? What is the return? Like, sure, for every Rudy Gobert return, there are countless in history where there's not an idiot on the other line giving you that much.
And that's the thing, like, you ask somebody, trade Joel. And then, like you said, you ask, all right, well, what are you getting? Oh, I don't care. I want him out of here. So Jordan, the guru, he thinks second-round exits every single year with Joel Embiid. I don't think that's written in stone. You get some players around him that can actually play. You get a wing that can actually shoot and score. Yeah, Tobias played great defense on Jason Tatum, who scored 50 in Game 7. And he said, well, that's Jason Tatum. Okay, well, every team has a that. Every team has a that guy that can rise up to the moment and hit a big shot. Every team. That's why they're in the NBA. All right, and that's why they're in the playoffs. That's why they're in the second round of the playoffs, the third round of the playoffs. Oh, what are you going to? Oh, well, that's Jimmy Butler. Yeah.
Go back to 2021. Yeah, Matisse, great defense, but I guess that's Trae Young.
That's Trae Young.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
That's Kawhi Leonard. Like, every team has that guy, okay?
And be great coverage on that last shot there.
Right. So, what does it matter? Tobias Harris in Game 6, when he D'd up Jason Tatum, scored 2 points. And don't give me, he was tired from cover. No, he botched layups in the first half. He had fresh legs. I don't know. 610-632-0975. So, again, I'll ask the question one more time. Because I think people are afraid to admit it, that it would be a dumb trade to the New York Knicks. Or a dumb trade where you're getting, 20th overall pick the next 3 years. You could find guys in the draft. Who? Furkan Korkmaz, Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot. Do you want me to find the Sixers' bottom third of the first-round picks in recent years? It's not great. It's not. Mr. Sam Hinkie, assets optionality. He didn't find anybody late. Mr. Brian Colangelo came in here to save the Sixers. He could have drafted Siakam. He had 2 picks.
But he got Furkan,
But he got Furkan, who's still on the team.
Hey, he requested out.
I just don't think it is smart. Whether you don't like the guy or not, emotionally, I don't care. I don't think it's smart at this point to move on from him. I don't want to move on from him because I still think there's a shot. But I don't even think it's smart to move on from him. 610-632-0975. We got the vault coming up. I got something on the Eagles later on as well. I'm filling in for the Cubs today, right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports.
10:52, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cubs. We got the Vault coming up in 8 minutes. Ray Dunn's edition of the Vault, so we're looking forward to that. Oh, man, this is going to be a long Sixers offseason. By the way, can I ask you a question?
Always.
Let me say this.
Oh, no.
Great player. Hell of a player. Hell of a career. Top, I forget what he is in scoring.
No.
Do I need ESPN front page breaking news? Carmelo Anthony has announced his retirement from the NBA. First off, he kind of already retired like years ago and then came back and played, in air quotes. I know he was on a roster 2 seasons ago. Like, it's all over the place.
Well, he's LeBron's friend, so
I guess
that helps.
I loved watching Melo play.
Yes.
I did, right? Like,
A decade ago.
Dude, Iverson, I'll be honest, man. You know, I had a dark time where I was watching Nuggets games. It was my AI, my childhood hero. Now, I wasn't a Nuggets fan, but watching Iverson and Melo together, like, that was awesome, man. And then, you know, he's with the Knicks, and of course we watch them a lot. But, you know, guys haven't played in 2 years, and I say played lightly 2 years ago.
But today it's official. It's all
Today
over.
it's official, so it's all over. It's all over the world that Carmelo Anthony has officially retired from the NBA. So no, he is not available for the Sixers because that's always been. How about Melo?
My offseason.
How about Melo?
Ruined. That was my entire plan.
Well, that's the thing, dude. I've heard "How about Melo" a million times on the stage.
That was 12 o'clock hour. What are we gonna do now?
Yeah, we got to rip that one up.
Wow,
Thanks a lot, ESPN. But this offseason is going to be crazy, man, because Daryl Morey has the chance to be creative, which he always kind of has had the chance to be creative. He's made some creative moves while he's been here with the Sixers, just not the big splash. The James Harden thing was kind of on the wall. Like, we knew it was coming. It was just, all right, who else are we going to get back? You know, we didn't know who the Sixers were going to give up. Was it going to be a Simmons for Harden trade straight up? Obviously, it ended up being Seth Curry and Andre Drummond for James Harden. Who was the? Did they
Paul
get
Millsap.
Paul. Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, Paul Millsap was
I'll
the
never
other
forget.
player. And I wanted, what the hell's his name? The shooter. He was hurt at the time. He's come off the bench now for the Nets. Joe Harris. Joe Harris. I wanted him. Like, I thought that would have been a great piece to add if you were losing Seth Curry, but they didn't want to part ways with him. We kind of knew the Harden trade was happening. Other than that, I'm still waiting for the big splash. Because Daryl Morey's known as this genius in the NBA. He hasn't won anything, so I can't give him that tag. He's gotten out of contracts. He's made some nice moves. Like, D'Anthony Melton was a great move early on in the offseason last year. Do you have faith that Daryl Morey's going to fix this?
I have faith he's going to do something to put this team in a better position.
Okay, so you think they will be, and we say this every single year, they're better than they were last year.
Well, better than this year might be tough for me in that position. Better position than where we're sitting.
My best shot, I thought.
Yeah, where we're sitting right now, where it's like, okay, it looks like Harden's walking. Tobias is still on the roster with his contract. A lot of the rotation is either up for a new deal or has to figure that out. Like, you're kind of looking at, can you push the chips into the center? And I think a big piece of all this, because I know there's people that have been like, oh, well, it's fine. You just take next year, you talk to Embiid, you say you can punt next year, and then you go line yourself up for the great free agent class next year, which in theory, great idea. Daryl Morey working on a 5-year contract. Daryl Morey doesn't like to wait around and sit around. I don't think that he is going to sit in his 4th year of his contract and say,
he's punting.
Hey, ownership, so I got this great plan. You're going to need to give me a contract extension for me to see it, and your aging star is going to punt a year of his prime. That's the one problem with that argument, because I totally understand that thought process.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I think he realizes this offseason's like, I got to kind of push the chips to the center.
People were saying that about the Eagles this year. They wanted to do a get-right cap season. I remember reading a story. It wasn't like Jimmy Kempski, this is what he wanted to do. It was just like, all right, if they were to do a get-right cap season, this is what you would do. And they were going to make no offseason moves. None. And start cutting, like Jason Kelsey wouldn't have been back and all this kind of stuff. And you would have lost a lot of fire going into the season, especially after coming off a Super Bowl appearance. The Sixers are still right there, man. As much as people don't want to agree with it, They're right there. You close out Game 6 like any team probably would. You're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and maybe you're not down 3-0 to the Heat. Yeah, I can't do the punt season. I've gone through way too freaking much with this team to go into a punt season, all right? I know it's a fun way to look at it. Punt, punt, punt. That way next year we can play our champ GM. Dude, I can't do punt season. It may be the smartest thing. I can't do it. I've gone through too damn much with this team to go for a punt. No. Because you know what? It's going to happen. It's going to be a sit-boss shank. I can't do that.
Well, yeah, relying on them to pick up a free agent's also like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, let's just.
Well, that's the other thing. Sometimes they don't come here.
Yeah.
Like, that's.
Novel concepts.
That's why the biggest thing that Daryl Morey, one of the biggest things that Daryl Morey's been bothering me with is, we'll wait till the buyout market. Sometimes they don't come here.
I can't do this. I can't do. Now you've got me going because the Kevin Love thing for me, watching Kevin Love, and get it. Yeah, you want to be in Miami. Sure.
Heat.
The Miami Heat bought out Dwayne freaking Dedmon.
Yeah.
And guess what they got? They got a guy that rebounds, that plays.
And the Sixers, by the way,
basketball.
picked up Dwayne Dedmon in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And God forbid, the market for Dwayne Dedmon was hot. 610-632-0975. By the way, Memorial Day weekend coming up, which is exciting. Anthony and I are going to have a lot of fun with that as the week goes on because even though he doesn't go to the beach much and wants to wish away the summer, he is a big beach guy, believe it or not. And of course, you know me, I'm a huge beach guy. Fanatic Deal of the Week we got going on. This is always a great deal every single year. Experience thrills and make a splash with the Fanatic Deal of the Week. Get one same-day ride and water park ticket to Maury's Piers for $70. That's unlimited rides on all 3 piers and access to both water parks for just $70. Check it out now at 97.5thefanatic.com, keyword deal. Get your combo ticket before they're gone. Supplies are very limited. It's a great deal because you know how expensive that stuff can get. I'm going to have to experience that at some point.
Oh, I've done it.
Well, I mean, you don't have a kid, right?
Oh.
Imagine you're paying it for people, right? And I'm
Paying
not,
it for myself is enough.
and I'm not doing the whole like, I have a kid, you don't. Like, I still
You
got
can do
years.
that.
But I still have
Technically
years.
speaking.
I still have years. Coop's not going down any water slides anytime soon.
Lazy River, though.
But I can only imagine the parents of 2 or 3 that the kids want to go to the water park or any of the piers, and all of a sudden you're dropping a couple $100, more than a couple $100. You get this, $70. Check it out. Fanatic Deal of the Week, 97.5thefanatic.com. Let's quickly go to Joe in Wilmington before the vault. Joe, what's going on, man?
Hey, just a couple things on the whole Joe Embiid piece. You know, this guy's been in the league 10 years. He's lost Game 6. You know, Toronto. I was at the game. You know, how many more years do we have with this guy? He's MVP. I think, maybe 3 years. I like Maxey. I think, Harden was inconsistent at times. We got to pick up a player that can give you 25, 30 with Maxey and Joe Embiid. I think you have a championship team.
With Joel Embiid.
With Joe Embiid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were like saying get rid of Embiid and find somebody else who can score 30 because Embiid does score 30. He led the league in scoring the last 2 years. But, yeah, I mean, Joe, I'm with you. James Harden opting out is a big deal for the Sixers. Tobias Harris finally being on that final year of the deal, which is now movable, is a big deal for the Sixers. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your rear end and say, things are great. Things are great right now to, ignore the man behind the curtain. I'm not going to say that. But all I know is they finally have a chance to move on from the Tobias Harris contract, and because Harden opts out, you have some more wiggle room. Now, the free agent class is not good. Your 30-point scorer is Kyrie Irving. I don't know if people want to deal with Kyrie Irving. I don't know how it's going to go here. I don't know how it's going to go anywhere. It clearly doesn't work sometimes. But you have some options now.
Well, I like the Harris guy, believe it or not. I think that he showed a lot of, he's not bad. I think if you can find a replacement for Harding who, let's call it what it is, consistency. He didn't have any. I mean, stars are supposed to show up in the playoffs, and this guy, puts 45 up one night, and then he shows up and puts up 12 or 15. Like,
right.
What are you doing? Like, we need to find that 25, 30-pointer to go with Maxey.
So you'd want to stick out the last year with Tobias?
I'd say stick it out. The guy's not bad. He had some great glimpses of great games, and I tell you.
Here's what bothers me with Tobias, and I appreciate the call, Joe. What bothers me is he's 6'8". Go up strong. It's the same thing with Ben Simmons. Go up strong. I don't get it Like, he's got a one-on-one fast break where he's actually got the angle on the guy and goes up for a layup, and it gets swatted. Blocked. Because he just goes up soft. And that game 6, where he finishes with 2 points, and everybody's glowing about his defense. Yeah, he did play defense great. He botched layups in the first half. Pat Egan, I remember he put out a little Twitter thread. Tobias Harris in game 6, his last shot happened with 7 minutes left in the second quarter. No, dude, I know we ignore the contract. I can't. Tobias Harris had a very good year with Ben Simmons a couple years ago when he played the 4. When he was the 4, he was shooting 40% from 3. If you could find that again, go for it. My thing, honest to God, and if Tobias Harris is listening, I'm sorry. I actually love the guy. I think he's a great dude. I've had the chance to talk to him. He's a great guy. He does have parts of his game where I think if he's utilized a little bit better, like, if he leaves here, he's a 20-point scorer somewhere. It's just fatigue with me now. It's honest to God. I got Tobias Harris fatigue at this point. All right, open the vault, Ray.
You know, when we began opening this vault nearly 2 hours ago, we had no real idea what we'd find inside. As it turns out, we haven't found very much.
All right, the vault presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Ray, what do we have today?
We got a couple of birthdays, a bit of an anniversary, something that happened over the weekend, and we got a little fun with retirement that you talked about. So we got a lot to get to here. I want to start with the pair of Phillies' birthdays over the weekend, though. So it was not today. You missed wishing them a happy birthday. That's on you, not me. Jason Worth on Saturday. It was his birthday. A lot of home playoffs, a lot of postseason homers, a lot of big moments for him during that stretch. I know you have an affinity for him, as most do. We had the conversation about him leaving.
About young Ray being angry at Jason Worth for getting the bag. Good for you, Jason. Congrats. I stood up and applauded when you came back.
Okay. I wasn't there. Wasn't fortunate enough to be there. So I was at home giving a stand and go, I'm sure. All right, here is a pair of home runs from the 08 World Series run.
With a strike on Jason Worth. And he launches one deep left center field. This one's got a chance to go. And it will go. Jason Worth.
Milwaukee crowd not taking lightly to losing.
5-0 Philadelphia. Rollins at second, a one-out double, and now a 3-2 pitch to Jason Worth. That is crunched into left field and gone.
That guy was a hell of a ball player, man.
Yeah.
Jason Worth.
So that one comes in the massive game for the Phillies where they crushed the Rays in that one.
That was the Bland home run.
Yes. That was the big game for him where he hits that one. So he was kind of in the 08 playoffs. He had the pair of home runs. 09, they don't get the job done, obviously. But he had himself a heck of a... Do you remember that postseason for him?
Yeah, he did. He had a big one in Utley, the big World Series. With 6 home runs, something crazy like that?
Yeah. So Worth hit 7 in the entire postseason.
Yep.
Now, I wanted to focus on the Rockies series because there's a home run in there. He's a big game 4. And Ryan Howard gets all the headlines for the Get Me to the Plate
Boys. Yep.
But this is game 4 for Jason Worth in what turned out to be a pivotal time for the Phillies.
That one's hit well, deep right center field. Jason Worth has sent one out of here. Worth with his second home run in the postseason. An opposite field missile. And a 2-0 Philadelphia lead. And Worth sends one to right. That's going to fall for a base hit. Here comes Ryan Howard. And he will score. The Phillies have taken the lead here in the 9th. 3 runs are in.
Big day for Jason Worth.
Big day for Jason Worth. You wouldn't know it by the excitement there. But there was a big day for Jason Worth there.
That was very, I like Brian Anderson a lot.
Yeah.
There's a drive to right field gone.
Yeah. Not only a home run to, in a pivotal game, and then only the base hit that put the Phillies ahead. Because after Howard ties the game, it was Worth that put them ahead. So... a little bit of Jason Worth appreciation. We got a long cut of 4 home runs for him, but we'll leave that one on the chopping block here because we got another birthday this weekend. An iconic moment in Phillies history. And I say that with a hint of sarcasm in there, but it was Wilson Valdez's birthday over the weekend.
Big birthday.
So we got to celebrate with the 19th inning that he pitched and just listen to the Tom McCarthy call of all things Wilson Valdez.
And Wilson Valdez, he's not a pitcher, but he is tonight, as he will take over for Danny Baez here at the top of the 19th.
Yep.
In the air to right center field. Martinez on the run. He has room. A step from the track, one away. How about Valdez was shaking off Sardina? Greg Gross at 86 went 2/3 of an inning. 89, he went 1 inning.
Oh, we threw him a breaking ball and he hit him with it. Unbelievable. And Roland just stood there, and you can't blame him because he knows it's not going to hurt him.
Fly ball, shallow center, long run for Martinez. Hand up, he's got it. 2 outs. Wow. I mean, there's not 45,000 here, but there are a lot of folks still here. They're loud. Fisher struck out his last time. Hop up, right side. This place is going to go nuts. Polanco under it, puts it away. How about Wilson Valdez? Smiles all the way around. High fives as he goes back to the dugout. We go to the bottom of the 19th inning. It's the Phillies 4 and the Reds 4.
Wow. 6 hours and 11 minutes that game went, by the way.
They played 2 full games.
They played
Makes
2
sense.
full games. All right, so I will ask you, how much more do you have in the vault?
We got a little bit more, but
All right, I'll save this question. I'm going to think about it during the break. The Phillies had 9 guys pitch that game. Now, this is 2011, so we remember that team. They had 9 guys pitch that game.
including Baez and Valdez.
Yes, so 7 more.
7 more.
I want you to think about the other guys that threw.
Oh,
I have the gift of the internet in front of me. So do you, but don't you dare look.
I won't look.
All right, what else we got from the vault?
Today in history is a big one for Philadelphia basketball because today was the day that the Syracuse Nationals were officially to be moved to Philadelphia.
Wow, big.
And doom us for all of history.
Thanks a lot, Syracuse.
Yeah, well, here's Syracuse having their moment. I found this one back. I don't know if I got to play it when I was in for you one day, but it's the Syracuse Nationals winning their first title. This is what it sounded like.
With the score tied at 91, the Pistons fouled George King, and Syracuse had a chance to win the game. With 12 seconds left, King buried the foul shot to give Syracuse a 92-91 lead. With only seconds remaining, Andy Phillip pushed the ball up court, but as he tried to dish it off, George King stepped in front of the pass, and the Syracuse Nationals held on to win 92-91 for their first NBA championship.
Wow. What year was that?
55, I believe. Yeah, they win in 55. They think they're going to be a dynasty, and within 8 years, they lose their team.
Does that count? Do we get that one?
Yeah, I think we got that one.
All right, cool.
Technically. I mean,
so we have 2?
You celebrating 55? Doing like a little reunion party for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And keeping with the idea of New York and basketball, Carmelo did retire today.
Yes, breaking news. Carmelo Anthony retired today.
Yes. He is no longer playing basketball.
Not last year, not the year before. Today, he retired.
So I have this for you because I think it'll make you smile. And I think we can finally start playing Sixers highlights again. This is one of the most notable moments of Carmelo Anthony's career.
Out top against Gerald Henderson. 12 to shoot for New York. Henderson right there. Rose with a dribble. Rose turns the corner. He's doubled. Out top Jennings. Right corner Porzingis. 3-ball. Air ball. Loose ball. Sixers get it. Henderson with 5. Henderson with 4. Gerald Henderson, the ear set to TJ Watt. He's got to shoot it. Puts it up. And in, the Sixers win. Oh, yeah, T.J. McConnell in the nick of time. The Sixers come back and beat the New York Knicks just in time. They throw it to T.J. McConnell, left baseline, 14-footer, put it on the board. Yeah, 98-97. The Sixers down the Knicks.
I love Tom. Two things. One, Ersan Ilyasova, total violation. He played hot potato.
Yes.
He had a shot. If you go back, he actually had a shot. He dished it off to T.J. McConnell because he was afraid, I guess.
McConnell's the closer. He knew that.
Number 2, you just made a major mistake. Because people love those days. And they hear that, and they go, yeah, see, you know what? Trade Joel Embiid. Let's get back to that. I want to go back to the days where the 10th win was exciting.
You know?
Even though they had 5 losses at that point. Thanks a lot, Ray.
If you trade Embiid to the Knicks, he blocks that McConnell shot, and you don't get the game winner, folks.
Good point.
Your reality's not real.
And he's not airballing the 3 like Kristaps Porzingis did.
It's going off the back rim.
All right,
and someone's putting it in.
Great job. That's the Vault presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. We'll continue the Sixers conversation at 610-632-0975. I asked the question. There was a report on Friday that the Knicks, Stephen Bondi said, keep an eye on Joel Embiid. He's been hearing Embiid's name rumored to the Knicks since midseason. I don't buy it, but the fact that we finally have a team, it's the first time we heard a team. I'll ask the question, are you trading to the Knicks? I say no in general. I'm not trading Joel Embiid. I want to still try to win this thing. I'm definitely not trading the Knicks, and I don't think it's smart to be trading Joel Embiid right now. What are you going to get? A bunch of mid to late first-round picks? It doesn't work for you. 610-632-0975. I also have a question about the Eagles. It's something that I know the answer to, but it's just so ridiculous that I need to talk about it. And it's about the Eagles and disrespect. I want to discuss some of that with you as well at 610-632-0975. Andrew here. If you need a new roof, call New Look Home Design. They've got a team of people that will help you through the process and make shopping 11:20, 97.5 The Fanatic. Manager Sal Chunas filling in for the Cuz. Anthony will be back tomorrow. This is his scheduled day off. He's feeling better after last week's Doc Rivers cold, where he was just completely wiped out. So he'll be back tomorrow, which we're excited for. 11 o'clock hour brought to us by Nugget Jewelers. That's where Philly gets engaged. Memorial Day weekend coming up, Ray. I told you about the Fanatic deal of the week. You can check it out, 97.5thefanatic.com. The $70 pass for the same-day ride and water park ticket to Maurice Piers, which is a great deal. Memorial Day, shocker, the weather seems like it's going to suck again. It's now at the point where you might as well book, if you're like, let's say, I have the luxury of having my parents living down the shore. So like I can go down. It's nice. It's at the point now where if you rent out a house Memorial Day weekend, you might as well wait a week. You might as well go the next weekend. Work Memorial Day Monday if your office is open. Get the comp day, right? That's what we have here. Get the comp day. And then take off the following Monday, do the Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Are you saying you're going to be in here next Monday? Just running the
I probably should. Honestly, I should. Because
12-hour shift?
It's reached the point where every Memorial Day, it's the same thing with opening day.
Yeah.
Opening day, I know I love going to opening day. Home opener.
Right.
I might as well buy the ticket for the game too. The second game. Whether it's game 5 of the season or game 2 of the season. Because you know the first game is going to rain. Every time.
You know I'm a big opening Saturday guy.
Yes.
You know I love my time out there.
No, you're smart.
Yeah.
It's at this point the way to go because every single year. So if you're planning on going down the shore or just doing anything for Memorial Day weekend, another crappy Memorial Day weekend ahead of us, which really stinks. But
what's Memorial Day looking like? Also crappy?
Also crappy.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That was the day I'd penciled in as the day I'm going to go out.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Monday. Well, let's go out.
Well, I'm spending most of my weekend here, so.
Yeah, but let's go out. Like, go out to a bar?
Be outdoors.
Oh, be outdoors.
Do a little outdoors activity, whatever.
No, you're out
Make
of luck.
my way to the shore.
You're out of luck.
Find a little outdoor establishment, have a couple, but no.
You are out of luck.
Good.
And I'm good. I'm sorry to say
I had Saturday in New York. It poured there, too, so,
Yeah.
batting 1,000 here with my...
The weather really screws us sometimes. What are you going to do? All right, I have a question about the Eagles. And if you want to continue this Joel Embiid conversation, feel free at 610-632-0975. I know people are scared to even say it because they realize it's crazy to trade him to the New York Knicks. But the Eagles, it's just one of these things where it dawned on me. And when Anthony's back tomorrow, we're going to get more into the Eagles for sure. He's ready to close the book on the Sixers. I could still have it kept open a little bit. Especially after watching the Heat go up 3-0 yesterday, which is just astonishing to me. The Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris over me? Yeah, I was... there is a lot of revisionist history now. There's been that tweet that's been going viral from Michael KB, I think it was, that 90% wanted to keep Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler in the poll that he put out years ago. I always wanted to keep Jimmy Butler. From the jump, I would have made whatever I could work with Jimmy Butler to try to keep him here because he was a guy that the Sixers just did not have. You want to go back, do shows, find old tweets. I wanted Jimmy Butler here. All right?
Trust me, I'm going to spend the next break.
Please do.
LOL, this aged well.
You also had that other assignment I hope you did during the break, which we'll get to. But, Jimmy Butler would have been nice here, whatever. So, the Eagles, I have a question. The Eagles, I feel, get disrespected all the time. And look, maybe it's a Philly thing. I don't know. Right? We get very offended when somebody takes a shot at us, but we'll crush our own. Right? It's like the little brother theory. Like, I can pick on him, you can't. So, all the time, I just keep on saying the Eagles aren't going to be as good as they were last year. Every once in a while, you see a pundit say this team's really good. Like, look at this offense that they have in front of them. But for the most part, I feel like people think the Eagles are going to take a step back. There's always Cowboys love, which that doesn't help because they're our division rival, right? So Eagles-Cowboys, the fact that the Cowboys gets a lot of love, well, we know that all well and good because you face them twice. They're in the division. It's a division where there hasn't been a repeat winner in 18 years. And so we get our backs up against the wall. I still don't understand this San Francisco thing, where if Brock Purdy was not hurt, the 49ers would have won the NFC Championship game. Not just made it a battle, would have won the NFC Championship game. And that I don't get, because the Eagles played flawlessly all season long. And I don't see how San Francisco was going to quickly change that. I know it's a one-game scenario, and they have a quote-unquote genius offensive mind, but he didn't protect his quarterback, both his quarterbacks who got hurt that game. So it's one thing that it's the players. It's the San Francisco 49ers players that are saying that stuff. But, you know, it's still pundits that are out there that are like, oh, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great rematch week 13. It might be. But they say it to the point where it's like, yeah, they'll really show what happened, the real story. I did not think the Eagles were going to lose. There was so much Brock Purdy love. So much. Nationally, Brock Purdy. People thought Brock Purdy was going to come into Philadelphia and win the game. Like, people counted the Eagles out. And it kind of feels like we're starting this already, going into the season where, you know, we're still far away. It's May 22nd. But it almost feels like, once again, this Eagles roster is being disrespected. And I don't get that. Do you get that sense?
The sense of being disrespected?
Yeah.
In a way.
Like I see, and maybe it's social media.
I think it's honestly just the 49ers. Like, I see the 49ers.
Well, and the Cowboys. The Cowboys thing, look, that will always be there. And maybe we pay closer attention to it because we are Eagles fans. Like, if it was let's say the Cowboys were in the NFC South, right?
Right.
We would probably make no bones about it.
Yeah. Make more geographic sense, too.
It would. Yeah. But because they're in the NFC East, they're our rival, historic rival. Every time we see a pro Cowboys post or whatever, we go, whoa, where's this for the Eagles? Because we rarely see it for the Eagles.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because...
I think the algorithm's got you.
That could be it. You're probably right, because I do have the For You on Twitter open right now and not following, so maybe that has something.
And the For You is barely For You anymore, but I don't want... I could spend an hour talking the Bird app, and what's gone wrong with it.
Exactly. But I don't know. Like, I look at this team, and I go, all right, they lost Isaac Seumalo, who Lane Johnson said, the Steelers got a good one. I wasn't the biggest Seumalo fan. Now, I'll see if they truly are going to miss Isaac Seumalo this season. I was totally cool with Miles Sanders not coming back. And look what I got this offseason. You get DeAndre Swift, and he's better than Miles Sanders when he's healthy. And I know that's a big if. Rashard Penny, when he's healthy. I'm not saying he's better than Miles Sanders, but he's a good running back when he's healthy. Now you got two off-injured running backs right now. But this Eagles offense is nasty. And the Eagles defense, I know people fell out of love with Darius Slay. I haven't. He had a great season. Got cooked in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, I know, it's a big game, but all right. He had two bad games. Super Bowl, yeah, that's one it counted most. Super Bowl and Washington when they fell to 8-1 because Terry McLaurin went off. I look at the defense and I go, all right, they're looking pretty good. I'm still questioning the front a little bit. Like, I know we're all excited about Jalen Carter and year 2 of Jordan Davis, another year of Fletcher Cox, another year of Brandon Graham. It's funny, though, nationally, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox get a lot of love, right? It's locally where Brandon Graham gets a lot of love locally. It's the Fletcher Cox local love where that's kind of lacking a little bit. But I don't know. Like, I look at this team and I go, I don't think they've taken a hit from this past team. Yeah, TJ Edwards, you have to see Nakobe Dean take a step forward, right? You have to believe that the safety position will be just as good, if not better, now that you don't have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That's a big loss that they had. But I don't know. Like, I still see some disrespect thrown toward the Eagles. It's May 22nd. How can you be disrespecting a team with, on paper, looks really good?
I guess it's to create the, narrative and create the idea that, the NFC's wide open and create the fun of, someone's going to get them. Who's going to get the Eagles?
Right.
They were so dominant a year ago that it's like, are we just going to write the Eagles to, conference championship game right into the Super Bowl? Like, they don't want to do that. They're not going to give you that type of respect.
Well,
even if
and they
appear.
shouldn't, because the Niners are a very good team.
But they want to, they want to say, well, last year you saw something, but what you saw last year is nothing compared to what you're going to see this year. Here is the difference. And the fact that we're doing a Week 13 is like, this is going to be the tell-all of what happened in the conference championship. Even if that game was Week 1, it doesn't tell you anything that would have happened in the conference championship. It's two different seasons. It's going to be different guys on each side. It's not going to change anything that Hargrave's playing for one team and not the other. Like, there is a different group. Whether or not the pieces are familiar and a lot of the team is the same, it's different groups. So this whole thing, they're going to show them. Like, sure, if that's what gets the 49ers motivated, if they want to slap a sign that says something about the Eagles, like, go beat the Eagles today. Oh, yeah, because that's what they've made their entire offseason. Their entire offseason has not been about how the 49ers got better. Their entire offseason has been about, we're better than the Eagles.
Yeah, which is really weird.
It's strange.
And again, I think, holy hell, you guys, get over it, dude.
Yeah.
Like Deebo Samuel, get over it. Brandon Ayuk, get over it. I get that, but whatever. Like, they're the players that played in the game, but you still see it from reporters every once in a while, and I just, I don't get. Like, I don't know why you're trying to come up with some narrative where the Eagles had 15 more sacks than the next team, and look what they did. They injured both quarterbacks because they got to them. They did what they did all season long. So why is it all of a sudden, well, if he didn't get hurt, well, he got hurt on a play that you didn't protect well against a team that had a great defensive front. It's still confusing to me, man. And I don't know what it is. Is it in a world of clicks? Is it a world of narratives, like you said, like, trying to...
I think that's part of it.
But you don't have to sell the NFL. The NFL sells on itself. And by the way, we see new teams all the time. The Detroit Lions, for crying out loud, are playing the Week 1 game against the Chiefs. Like, the NFL sells itself. And the NFL's funny. Like, Jalen Hurts, God forbid, could get hurt Week 1. And if he gets hurt Week 1, being that he's a mobile quarterback, it's possible. It's not out of question. He's gotten hurt at the end of season the last 2 years. What if it happened early on? And maybe he's back in 3 or 4 weeks. But you're 1-3. Or you're 1-4. And now it's like, all right, you got a big hole to dig out of, because you know that there's always a team that's going to be winning 12, 13 games. You don't need to sell the NFL. I think people actually believe that. And I don't know if it's a Jalen Hurts thing. I don't know if it's a Nick Sirianni. They don't like. I don't think people like Nick Sirianni outside of Philadelphia.
No. I mean,
like, how many people got so angry when he did the nodding of the head at the camera?
Beat him then.
That's the thing. But I think people hate the Eagles to the point where they may actually try to talk themselves into ludicrous statements that they're a fake team. I mean, how many times did you see here's the fake wins that they had?
Yeah.
They're a fraudulent 13-win team.
It's going to happen again at the beginning of the season. If they get off to a hot start, looking at the beginning of their schedule, they'll be like, this is the easy portion. Just wait. Call me at the end of November, the beginning of December. That's when you can really talk about
and then what happens if they go in that stretch? It's like 5 very difficult games. You go 2-3 or 3-2. All right,
they're not really that.
They're really not that great. But
a real team would have been 13-0 at this point. But
if you go 0-5, you can have the conversation. They're not going to go 0-5 during that stretch.
No.
But plus, it also sets up well for them because it's Cowboys, then the bye, and I know you always overlook a team before the bye week. You're not going to overlook your division rival. So you get the Cowboys, then the bye, then the Chiefs. It actually works out. This matchup will be Chiefs-Bills. Because the Bills is this game after the Chiefs. Like, I'll probably write in a loss right now. If I did the schedule W's and L's, I'm putting an L against the Bills right now because you're going to go all out emotionally against the Chiefs. Hopefully you win. You'll lose the next week to the Bills. I'm penciling it in right now. Are people going to say, oh, man, the Eagles they're not real because they lost to the Bills? What if they won the previous 2 games?
No, they're not real because that was a fake win.
Because it was after the bye.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's what they'll do. And I don't get it. I don't know other teams that get disrespected like this. And again, I got green goggles on, right? Like, I'm not listening to sports talk radio in other cities. I'm listening to it here. Like,
but it's also different. Like, this is an NFC Championship team. Like,
right.
This is a team that was in the Super Bowl. I don't think you need to do like the tear it down type thing. You could say, hey, I think a good game those two teams match up might be a preview of who wins the conference. Not, I think we're going to figure out really what was happening because it wasn't fair for the 49ers in that game. Like,
well, it's funny, and it's all sports. Like, nobody, at least in their right mind, has said that Nikola Jokic stinks, right? Nobody said that Nikola Jokic stinks. The only thing that you could say he stinks at is defense, and I still stand by it. Okay?
Yeah.
I stand
you
by
can stand
it.
on that. I think that's
He's
okay.
not a good defensive player. But when I talk about Joel Embiid and I compare the two, and I say Joel Embiid should have won MVP this year, and he did, I didn't then go, yeah, Jokic stinks, and Embiid should win MVP. But if you talk to a Denver Nuggets fan, it's Jokic is God, and Embiid is actually not that good of a basketball player.
We got a rough couple of weeks coming up.
He could be a sixth man on this team. He could, he should probably be off the bench. Like, the Sixers are a fraud team. Like, but that's what I always hear with every team, and that I don't get. People hated that the Phillies were in the World Series last year.
Oh yeah, well they got in fraudulently, and then we have to contract the number of teams in the postseason because God forbid you let the players decide.
This was a fake playoff run. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs in the first place. Well, so be it. The rules are rules, and they got in. They won. 610-632-0975.
So B Gun helping us out back there. Check it in with the top story on ESPN right now is their advanced analytics and what it says about next football season.
Okay.
And they do an entire story talking up the numbers, talking things up. And then they have a section that says Eagles to the Super Bowl? ? And then it's saying that the playoff teams of the AFC are so much better. The only reason the Eagles are the leading favorites to win the Super Bowl is because their path is easier to get to the Super Bowl.
Now,
and
okay, continue.
I think that's where they're going with this season's a little more wide open than most, is what they say about the indication of the Eagles being the favorite. Not the Eagles there on their own merit. That it's a wide open season. That's why the Eagles are favorite.
I don't disagree with the statement. Okay? The AFC is stacked just like the AFC was stacked last year. Look at what the Eagles had to do in the playoffs. They had to beat the Giants, which that was easy work. And then
whoa. Danny Dimes playing the best football of his career.
Yeah.
You better be scared.
He got paid. They beat the Giants, which was easy. And then they beat the Niners. Yes, it was a blowout because of the injuries. I still believe in my heart of heart that if Brock Purdy plays the full game and even plays to his best potential, the Eagles win that game. They were the better team. So I don't disagree with the statement. But they're writing it in a way where it's like, oh, man, the Eagles have it easy this year.
Which is just not true.
It's not true because it's a one-game playoff. Like,
look at the schedule. It's not an easy road for the Eagles.
The Eagles have they have the hardest schedule. It's actually
what happens
according to that same analytics department has the Eagles playing the hardest schedule in the NFL, but then we'll also write, oh well, it's easy for them in the playoffs. What if a team that does not have the hardest schedule in the NFL gets the top seed in the NFC, and they have the bye because there's only one bye, and they have home field advantage? The Eagles would have to go on the road to win. But then the narrative will be, wow, that was a fake 1 seed. It's just so weird, the spin against Philadelphia sports. And it's weird that it's now once again starting, even though it's never really gone away, from the Eagles, who just got to the Super Bowl, who just won it 5 years ago, who have a roster that's built for, I know it's Jerry Jones, but remember, Jerry Jones thought the Eagles were a one-and-done team, and people agreed with him. It wasn't just
draft
Jerry
Johnny
Jones.
Manziel. Jerry Jones had a lot of bright ideas.
But people agree with him, and I go, what are you talking about? Like, this team is built for you shouldn't pay Jalen Hurts all this money. Eagles fans, our own, said that the Eagles were in trouble after paying Jalen Hurts. The team has guys under contract for 2-3 more years. whatever. So I just want to talk about the Birds a little bit because, it's been a while since we got into them. 610-632-0975. The Eagles continuing to get disrespect, which I really don't get it. I need your help. Is there any actual reason why other than they just hate Philadelphia? Like I don't see what it is that you can try to tear down the Eagles about to make your team better. I get Denver fans doing that about Jokic and Embiid, but I see it from fans of other teams. I really don't understand it. I've always showed my respect to Jokic. 610-632-0975. By the way, coming up at noon, I'll start something. I heard the morning show talk about it. I saw the story this weekend about a new burger in town, which is ridiculous, but whatever. But I want to spin off of that story that Pat Egan told Bob and Jamie. They did a tremendous job as they continue to fill in for John Kincaid, who we're still thinking of course. I want to spin off of that, and I'll explain more coming up at noon. 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cubs. We'll be back tomorrow right here on The Fanatic. 11:48. 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cuz. Anthony will be back tomorrow. Ray, let me ask you. The Celtics Heat series going on right now.
It's awesome.
Okay, so
Love every second.
you're loving it. I don't know truly how I feel. I think I'm more in shock that the Heat are up 3-0 than me feeling any sort of way emotionally. There's always the mindset of, well, if the Celtics win, that proves the point that the Sixers, tough series, blah, blah. If the Heat won, well, I don't know if the Sixers would have actually beat the Heat now. I don't really have an emotional I love Jimmy Butler, so I go, hey, good for Jimmy. I love that he did that timeout sign toward Al Horford, who's a thief. There's moments where I'm really enjoying it, but I think I'm more in shock that they're up 3-0 than I am feeling any sort of type of way.
I'm loving it. And I think I'm going through it. I think I'm just kind of emotionally removing myself and just trying to enjoy watching Jimmy Butler do what he's doing to Al Horford and let my emotions for those two feel the way they do. Mm-hmm. And not process everything else. Because I was tweeting last night, I tweeted out that I was taking solace in the thought that if this happened to the Sixers, if the Sixers got over the second round hump,
and
beat the Celtics, and then went down 3-0 to the Heat, it'd be the same thing. We'd still be firing Doc. We'd still be having the conversation.
Oh my God,
all the conversations we're having where that's a real championship team. This is how far we still are away. It doesn't matter. We beat the Celtics. And Missoula's a fraud, so we would have actually been able to talk ourselves, past that, where we've been they beat the Celtics with that coach. What does that even say? So I'm trying to cope with that. And then I also have the thought of, wow, these losers that are down 3-0 were the guys that came back and won against you and you're in a 3-2 series. The hard part for me is that, I know the bar for a lot of people is they got to get out of the second round. They got to get out of the second round. I want them to win a championship. If they get, annihilated in an Eastern Conference Finals, but they got out of the second round, I'm not raising a banner. I'm not,
yeah. Well, so you were Team Broad Street.
Yes, well, that's different. I looked at two different ways.
But so did I. I looked at it as first time in 22 years you're out of the second round. You beat the hated Boston Celtics. It's a kind of the end of the process and all this even though the process has been over. But there was so much to it, right? But I did say if they then came back and then lost the Eastern Conference Finals, I would not be okay.
Oh, yeah. I celebrated the moment.
I was celebrating the moment, right?
You beat the Celtics.
And, of course, that means I jinxed it and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, you're mush.
I obviously got that. That was fun to deal with because I had something to do with the Sixers not showing up the final 5 minutes of Game 6 and not showing up at all Game 7.
I saw the call receipts. You called it in. You were like, guys, I said you guys were going to win. You have to lose this.
Yeah, that's my bad.
I want some engaging content.
I did it. My fault, guys. I'm the reason why the Sixers got eliminated.
Well, glad you admitted it.
But, yeah, if they lost to the Heat in 7, let alone being down 3-0, oh, my God. It's fire Doc. It's, okay, Harden probably came up small. I'm not doing this anymore. They needed to have beat the Heat for me to still have continued enjoying this ride. Dude, I am shocked. I thought the Celtics would win Game 1. When they didn't, I thought they'd come back, win Game 2.
Me too.
The second they lost Game 2, I was like, oh, my God, this actually might be over. I'm not shocked that the Heat won tonight. It's just more so I look at the series record, and it's 3-0, and I'm like, dude, what happened? What happened?
Oh, I can't wait. They're going to have that was one of the big things about me celebrating beating the Celtics. You were going to be what sent them into the tailspin. Because now I think it's going to happen because of the way it's happening right now against the Heat, where it's is this Tatum's team? Is this Brown's team? Joe Mazzulla's got to go. We got to, they're going to start asking all the franchise-altering questions, which is awesome. It would be nicer if that wasn't happening here as well. But it's awesome to see them go through that. And that would have been part of the celebration there. Now I'm just, again, trying to focus the energy of, hey, they're having that problem. Hate to be them. They're not going to get their chase for 18. That's cool. It's a bit of a loser mentality, but losers. I had to put, this season behind me, and I'm kind of putting the energy into Jimmy Butler. And hey, maybe Jimmy Butler asserts himself in the finals for his guy Joel, so that Jokic doesn't get the ring. Right. You don't have to deal with that narrative.
It would be nice. What if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, those whispers come back?
I think they are.
Can we do Tobias isn't a problem. Hey, James Harden looking for a new team. You want to give him 4 years, $200 million? That would be nice. I would love to have Jaylen Brown. How about Jaylen Brown, man? We saw, no, he's not better than Ben Simmons. Good for Jaylen Brown. Guy's turned his career around, or not turned it around, but like the guy has become a star in the NBA, and I don't think he's used enough. I think they try to make it the Jason Tatum show out there in Boston. I don't think it necessarily works out that way.
He had a 50-point Game 7, and there are people waking up today to the conversation of
trading Jason Tatum.
Well, not even that. Is he a playoff choker?
Right.
They're having that.
Yeah, he had a 50-point Game 7. You can't have that conversation a couple weeks later.
He hasn't shown up at the Eastern Conference Finals. This team has hit its ceiling.
Yeah.
Wait. Weren't we having this conversation?
Weren't they in the NBA Finals already?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. 610-632-0975. I have a question that I'm going to open up in about 5 minutes, and I love that Blackguardy is on hold. So, BG, hang tight, because I'm gonna have you as the hamster. You and Ray are going to be the hamsters, and that'll get the conversation going. But for right now, let's go to Salvi in South Philly. What's up, Salvi? Hello, Salvi. Put you on hold. Let's see if Salvi has us on mute. Check him out, please. John in Maryland. John, what's going on?
Hello.
Hello.
Andrew.
What's up?
You there?
Yes.
Hey, listen, man. I'm old school, and I'm telling you right now, the Heat can't beat Boston bad enough for me, brother.
Okay.
Let me tell you, when they were up by 30, I wanted it to be 40. I remember from the 80s, the Celtics, I hate the Celtics more than the Cowboys. You just, hey, they're right there, one and one A.
Yep.
And Miami can't beat them bad enough.
Well, here's the reason why I asked the question, right? Because the Celtics losing does nothing for me right now. Like, the Sixers lost, right? The Sixers broke my heart. So the Celtics losing, I guess I obviously don't want to see the Celtics win the NBA Finals, but right now them losing this series does nothing for me. And also, it's a reminder that, holy hell, how could you let go of Jimmy Butler?
I agree that this front office has messed up this team for about 4 or 5 years now. I mean, every time I see Jason Tatum and every time I see Mikal Bridges, and I'm just saying, you got to be that when Danny Ainge fleeced them for a draft pick and Markelle Fultz, and we could have had Tatum, and man, it even goes back further.
Well, they were never going to have Tatum.
Okay.
Just look that story back up.
But what about Bridges and then Zaire Smith?
Yeah, they did that. They did that for the Heat pick, which you eventually got players for. But I'm with you, man. You keep Bridges, it's a totally different story, and they're built differently. Now I have to look into it. Somebody tweeted at me last week saying, "Well, if they kept Bridges, they wouldn't have Maxey." I got to remember exactly everything, so maybe you wouldn't have Maxey, but I also think Ben Simmons, Bridges, and Joel Embiid is a pretty good team, right? That's pre-Maxey, and that's pre-Ben Simmons falling apart.
Absolutely. But, look, both conference finals couldn't play out better because after hating the Celtics, the Lakers are next. And watching them get beat down is also gratifying, very much so. So this couldn't go down any.
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. I ignore the jersey. I would rather have seen LeBron in the finals than Jokic.
Hey, man.
And that's a anti-Jokic thing, but good for him. Whatever. That's an anti-Jokic thing, though.
I don't have the anti-Jokic thing. I got the anti-LeBron thing, and I don't want him to.
Okay, see, I don't have an anti-LeBron thing. I respect him. I appreciate the call, John. I saw LeBron grab a board in Game 2 and go coast to coast in a blink of an eye. And I'm like, oh, jeez. Like,
still doing it.
Still doing it, man. I had an anti-LeBron thing except for the decision.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with the decision itself. Okay, he did it for charity, all that stuff. I mean, him leaving Cleveland did kind of bother me a little bit. Forming the super team and all that stuff. And then the biggest thing that messed me up, they didn't win a ring the first year. Year 2, they win the ring. My man Big Z, Zadrunas, he was on the team year 1, didn't get the ring.
Ah, well, see, now I see where that comes from. That's
that bothers me, man. Somebody gave me a Zadrunas Ilgauskas Heat jersey as a gift because they knew I disliked the Heat so much because of the LeBron thing. Somebody gifted me a Zadrunas. I still have it.
That's pretty cool.
I have an Ilgauskas Heat jersey. I might be the only person in the world that has one.
We could make those come back. Well, let's give a call to Fanatics. Let's see if Michael Rubin could get us that line coming back.
Maybe.
Sell a couple of
Maybe.
them.
Let's go to Jason from the Dirty 30. What's up, Jason?
Hey, how are you guys?
What's up, man?
I'm doing all right. Listen, I'm visually impaired. I had the stroke about 2 years ago. So I can't analyze games as well as I could before.
Okay.
However, I don't understand it, okay? Every time we get rid of somebody, they turn out to be golden. Like, look at Jimmy Butler, okay? He's well on his way to winning the NBA championship.
Yep.
You know, I believe in the Philly curse. I mean, we haven't won a championship since, 83, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, that's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of bad decisions, right? Like, the process should have worked. It should have. Ben Simmons falling apart. Nobody could have predicted that. Al Horford coming to Philadelphia and not being anywhere near the same player and then leaving and actually revitalizing his career. Nobody could have predicted that. Markelle Fultz, thoracic outlet syndrome. Nobody could have predicted that. Like, the process should have ultimately worked. But it's just weird stuff happened, and then there were poor franchise decisions. And then if you want to go back to 83, you know, there's been so many stuff through the years. I mean, Iverson in the 2000s, they couldn't build a team around him. They get to the finals, but clearly they weren't good enough. It's just been a lot of mismanagement over these 40 years, Jason.
Yeah, 40 years of suffering. Pain and suffering, 40 years.
Yep.
When is the pain going to end?
Oh, man, when is it going to end? I don't know. I mean, we got another offseason of looking forward to off-season moves, Jason. I appreciate the call, and I wish you continued health. Sorry that you went through that a couple of years ago, but, you know, you got that Philly sports fandom still, which is great. I don't know when it's going to end. Dude, I've been asking that question for a long time with a lot of teams. Thank God for the Eagles right now. Seriously, thank God for the Eagles. Now, I've been mentioning a story that I want to get to. I wanted to start it at noon, so we're going to do it now. There's a new burger in town, and Pat Egan told the story this morning on the morning show, and I'm sure you've seen it on social media already. So just quickly, if you missed it, there's a burger at a restaurant called DBG, the Drury Beer Garden, and they're calling the burger the gold standard. And this burger costs $700 to order. All right? It's got all kinds of stuff on it, fancy stuff on it, stuff that I'm never going to probably eat and or definitely pay for. All right? Plain and simple. You know, good for this restaurant. They're in the news. God bless them.
We're talking about them.
We're talking about them. They got what they wanted. They might never sell one, or if they do, they, I'm sure, made plenty of money off of whatever this burger was. So $700 to the DBG, not the DGB, which is Dorial Green Beckham.
Right.
The DBG.
Which one lasts longer?
The burger.
Yeah.
The burger.
I would say the burger.
You could freeze burgers. You can't really freeze Dorial Green Beckham.
I mean,
they did that with Ted Williams' head, but, you know, that's a conversation for another day. So when I heard Pat talking about it, I read the story over the weekend, but when I heard Pat talking about it this weekend, and they were doing the whole, I would never pay for it. Like, why would you do? I'm with them on the burger. But it made me think, all right, what is something that I spent entirely too much money on? Now, I am very tight with my wallet. I am. The only thing I'll probably spend too much money on is experiences. You know, playoff tickets, right? I took my wife to the NLCS. I was blessed to see the Harper home run. Took my dad to the Phil's Braves game where Reese spikes the bat. Like, I had some pretty great moments. And look, it's a hefty ticket. You got to pay an exorbitant amount of money for those. I bought my dad tickets to Fenway a couple of years ago for Father's Day because we wanted to do the stadium tour. So we made the drive, and that, gas and hotel and all that kind of, and you're dining out, all that kind of stuff. So I've spent collectively a decent amount of money on experiences, but I've never on a whim bought something. The only thing that I can think of is my wife and I recently bought a sectional for our family room. We bought the house, and of course you're moving in right when Christy got admitted to the hospital, so that was a lot of fun. So 1 year removed, we're still doing things to the house, like moving our old furniture in other places. Like the couch that we had in our place in Manayunk is now in the basement, in the little man cave, because the Manayunk house was not as big as the house that we have now. So it looked kind of weird, the 2-person sofa in a family room, right? So we bought a sectional and probably paid too much money on it. It was on sale and all this kind of stuff. Dude, it's huge. It's a bit obnoxious. It fits the room, but it's a bit obnoxious to the point where, you can probably seat 10-plus people on it. I would say more than 10 people on it. I can at least talk myself into, all right, but we're going to use this couch for 20-plus years. This thing's not going anywhere. I don't think it can get out of the house at this point. It was put together inside the house.
Oh, yeah,
right?
That thing's staying there.
That thing's staying there. It's not moving anywhere. But I know that somebody will probably go to this restaurant that has the money to do a $700 burger, right? I don't have the money to buy a $700 burger. I may treat myself to a $80 to $100 steak on a rare occasion.
Oh.
Rare, dude. I bought one when Christy and I went out. It was our first date night post Cooper. And so I was like, all right, this is a special moment. It's our first date after, Cooper's been born. And we've been stuck at the house this entire time.
Parents' night out.
Yes. So I treated myself to that. And since then, I'm back to my $5 burgers and half-price apps and all that kind of stuff just to make up for it, just to get back to that financial goal of mine. Because, again, I'm very tight to my wallet. So I'm bad. I'm not the best person to have this conversation with. But I would like to hear from you. Have you ever made where you've probably spent way too much money on one individual thing? I think the next closest during COVID, I wanted to replay all the old Nintendo games that I played as a kid. So I bought 10 Nintendo games, which ended up totaling a couple $100. Now, it was multiple items that totaled a couple $100. It's not like I paid $100 on one individual game. You try to buy Mario Kart for the Nintendo 64, you have to pay $150 nowadays because it's a delicacy at this point. Have you, other than sports, paid too much money for something? And look, I know your financial status. I have an idea of it. I've been in your shoes.
Yeah.
The early stages of radio. First thing I did when I got hired was I bought a new car. I would be that athlete that, you see the story of where it's this guy's been driving the same car since high school, even though he signed the big that would be me. I'm going to be driving my 2013 Honda Civic until it can't move anymore. All right? But as soon as I got the job, I was like, all right, I need a new car. Because my car was falling apart at the time, and I knew that I was going to have a constant paycheck coming in, even though I ended up losing money because I got more hours part-time than full-time, but whatever. That's radio business for you. Have you ever made a purchase where you kind of go, probably shouldn't have done that?
Obviously, the experiences is one. We were doing the show during the fall, and
you kept on going.
I kept going.
You kept on going. I give you, guy. If you don't know Ray, I give Ray a lot of credit. Ray just kept on. I needed to be there.
And it's the same this year too. It's
even
bad.
if you couldn't get tickets to a game, you would be at Xfinity Live.
Yep.
You had and look, a beer there's $8.
Oh yeah, no, that was not great.
So Ray, I give so much credit. That entire Phillies playoff run, he needed to be there. And so you were either buying game tickets, or if you couldn't afford the game tickets, you were at Xfinity Live pounding beers.
I just enjoy being around the people. I just enjoy experiencing that type of stuff with everyone else. And I've been bad about that at the start of the year. I've got a spreadsheet going about the games I've been to so far. Shout out to people I know that are helping me out, but
that's good.
It's still not great. So outside of sports, the one thing I can think of is during the pandemic, I was Very bored. And I went,
yes.
I went and got some old, similar to you with the old video games, but I also got like the streaming setup where you could hook it up and you could, because it was a nice little shared experience for me and the people I couldn't see. And now looking back on it, it was like a good run there for like a couple of fun.
Well, you probably haven't used it since.
Yeah, I think I used it like once in the fall, like this past fall, and I like see it every day in my room where it's just kind of sitting there, not set up anymore. And I'm like, yeah, could I have done without the $100 on, a couple $100 on the games and the setup and all that stuff? Probably.
Yeah.
Now, but I don't, I was a college kid that was just trying to,
So that
enjoy.
reminds me, I did buy something at the beginning of COVID prior to the video game. Now, I bought Nintendo games and I bought an Xbox One. If you listen to the station pre-COVID, I was playing Xbox 360.
I'm still playing
online, trying to still. I would sit in the lobby for longer than everybody else, right? My friends would get annoyed with me because I'm almost loaded. Don't you worry. I bought a keyboard because I wanted to learn how to play the piano. Now, obviously, I was renting, so it's not like I was about to buy a legit piano to bring in. I played every day for like 3 weeks. Memorized songs. That thing is collecting dust in my basement. Now, I bought one that didn't even have a full keyboard. It was less keys. It was like 48 or something. So I think I paid a little over $100 for it. I could use that $100 back. It's just sitting in my basement.
That might be me.
Waiting in case I want to pick it up again. I don't have time right now.
No.
So that kind of a purchase. So it's really like, did you make a COVID purchase? Right? That's one thing. Like, it was good for a couple of weeks, but that I could have done without. But based off of this $700 burger, have you ever bought anything we just kind of went out a whim for? And even if it's a food thing. I've never done that with food. Like that steak, I told you, I knew I was doing it. Like I knew I was going to treat myself. Like we went to a steakhouse. Like I knew I was going to do that. But have you ever gone to a restaurant and you went, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna buy it. Were you ever at a store where you walk by? I know people don't shop in stores anymore, but you go, Dan, it's a nice pair of sneakers. How much are they? I'm gonna treat myself today. And then you're terrified to wear them. And then they get dirty and you're like, shoot, I just spent all that money. So the $700 burger made me think, all right, the purchases that you have made and the couch, like, dude, like, probably didn't need to do it. Now, we're going to use the hell out of it, right? Coop's going to spill all over it probably, and I'm going to be miserable when that day happens. But has there been a purchase that you've made? So I'm going to get Black Gritty's thoughts on it on the other side because I know he probably has a great story for me. He always has great stories for me. He wants to talk Sixers and Eagles as well. But I want to hear from you, 610-632-0975. The $700 burger that is out there in the city. What's something that you spent way too much money on? You just did it. You just did it. And you felt great about it at the moment. And then you look back at it and you go, oh, man, yeah, I could have afforded a new pair of shoes, because I'm a clearance rack shoes guy. I'll be totally honest with you. But hey, I got to wait another month before I buy those shoes because I paid $700 for a hamburger. 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cuz. He'll be back tomorrow right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Speaking of $100 to have, it would be nice to have that $100 that I paid on the keyboard to use on my FanDuel Sportsbook app. FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge. 12:19, 97.5 The Fanatic. Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cuz. Playing day off. Anthony will be back tomorrow. Can I admit something to you?
Always.
So, the D Train, Dylan McKinnon, does great stuff with the best show ever. And, of course, great stuff with digital content. He opened up the pack. There's a pack of the sour Jolly Rancher, like, chewables.
Yes.
I don't chew any of those candies.
What?
I'm terrified to get a cavity. So I will just suck on it until the sour flavor or whatever goes away. And that's it. And then I'll spit it out.
You spit it out?
Yeah. Because, well, what am I going to do?
I thought you were just saying it was small enough where you just suck it until it gets, like, I guess, small enough, and then...
You can say it. Go ahead. Nobody's going to drop.
Yeah, well, I'm going long enough here. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
gun back there is going to get me.
I guess you could, but I don't, and that's it. I just don't like chew. Like, I'm terrified of cavities.
Yeah, you could be terrified of cavities. They got this new thing they put out. It's called a toothbrush.
Well, I brush my teeth.
Right.
But I'm at work. I won't be able to brush my teeth if I were to do it at the earliest 3:30.
You think the cavity's getting you in the next 3 hours?
Maybe. Who knows?
If you're this worried about your dental hygiene, I feel like you have earned the right to eat that.
To have one chewable
it's the
gummy.
People on the other side who will have that, then won't brush their teeth for a couple days that you worry about.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it is nasty, but there's people out there.
Gross.
I'm not going to pretend like they don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the people that are just eating those candies and I'll get to it.
No, it just freaks me out a little bit.
But spit it out.
I have weird fears, man. Like, I don't want a cavity.
Yeah, no one wants a cavity. Is there anyone that walks like, you know what, I'm going to eat that because I want to get a cavity? Nobody wants the cavity.
But I don't want to risk it. Like, is that strange?
Yes, very strange.
How is that strange? Like, why would you? I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, we're talking about risking not being able to brush your teeth for 3 hours. If you're that scared, eat it.
Sorry.
You know what? They got plastic bags out there. You get a little plastic bag for it, take it home, enjoy it, and then run upstairs real quick. Brush your teeth.
I could.
We'll get you a work toothbrush. Work on that.
Speaking of dental hygiene, have you ever seen the thread of tweets from Jimmy Kempski?
Yes. I know exactly what
I don't know what they're called. Like
the floss, but the floss on a stick.
Yeah, the floss on the stick.
Yeah,
we'll go with that.
I don't know. If they want to sponsor us, we'll come up with the real name.
So Jimmy started noticing these things all over the city.
Yes. It's
to
hilarious.
the point where he started taking pictures of them. And then he started noticing them on road games, right? He covers the Eagles. He's on the road with them.
Right.
And did you ever see Tom Hanks' thread? Tom Hanks does the lost gloves.
Oh, yeah,
Every time there's a lost glove, he takes a picture of it and posts where it was. So Jimmy Kempski did one for the floss and the stick. I found one in the building today.
Yeah, I saw that picture. It was gross. Where'd you see that?
Right outside the bathroom.
Oh, so someone that's near us thinks that's okay. I'm
now,
start looking at everyone different.
By the look of the picture, if I'm examining this right, it looks unused. But who knows?
Well, that opens up a whole nother set of questions. Who's got the loose floss on the stick?
That's it.
Yeah, you got that just falling out of your bag? You mean you feel comfortable? You think your bag's that clean that you could have the loose floss and the stick
gross.
in there?
Yeah, that's gross. Or even your pocket. Like, you can't.
No,
you
not
can't
the
trust
pocket.
that.
I don't care how clean your clothes are. No.
So, bro, that's the thing. Like, I was on yesterday. Say what you want. Call me. I don't even know. Like, I don't know why people would even complain. I was behind a car. It was the day that it was shut down. I was stuck in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The guy just opens his window and throws his trash out the window.
Ow.
And I'm just like, bro, wherever you are going, I guarantee you there's a trash can. It doesn't matter where you're going. There is a trash can located at your final destination. You can't hold on to it for a little bit.
Pathetic.
And then it's not that big of a deal. There's trash everywhere. Well, you don't have to add to it.
There's trash everywhere.
But the floss thing, like, what are you doing? Floss near a trash can. I don't walk around my house flossing and then walk outside in the neighborhood, I floss in the bathroom. There's a trash can right there.
Was the floss thing at least near the bathrooms?
It was near the bathroom.
But still,
throw it out.
I mean, even if you fumble it, even if like you're holding it because you're going to the bath, maybe there are people who get here early in the morning. Maybe they felt like they had to wait to do that till they got here. If you fumble it, pick it back up.
Pick it up. That's it. Pick it up. Wash your hands. You're going to the bathroom anyway. Wash your hands. I don't know. I saw it this morning. By the way, John and Thomas on Twitter, John on the lane and Tom Philly 11. You're both dead to me. They're both dead to me.
Wow, how'd that happen?
They said I'm giving off Gabe Kapler vibes because I spit out the.
I mean,
no. That freak spits it out because he doesn't want body fat. This is 100% dad bod here. All right.
No.
100% dad bod.
See,
I'm worried about cavities.
And he's worried about calories. What's the difference here?
Big difference.
You're worried about something happened with your body.
You don't need, especially this guy. This guy's 0% body fat. All right. He's not going to get he doesn't need work done. I would need the work done on the teeth.
You
if I got
are
a cavity.
brushing your teeth, it seems like, at least 3 times a day with this type of routine.
Forgive me.
Well, then what do you need to protect the teeth from one gummy?
I don't know. I don't want a needle down there.
Yeah.
It freaks me out, dude. Like, people have, phobias.
I'm trying to.
Let me have one.
Listen, man.
These guys call me Gabe Kapler.
It kind of gives off
You guys
Gabe
know how
Kapler
much I hate
vibe.
him? No.
It does.
I just want Kapler sweep the Phillies, man. And now you're saying I got casting off Gabe Kapler vibes. You're dead to me, both of you. Including you, Ray.
Yeah, that's fine. John, Thomas, let's hang out.
Let's go to BG. Black Gritty. What's up, BG?
Well, let's just say brush your teeth need to go. So I'm not going to get into that altercation with you. You can just do what you got to do to survive. Bro.
Listen, man, I just don't want a cavity. Like, forgive me. I get nervous about it.
Hey, I'm not scared of plane snakes or anything, but Dennis freaks me out. So do what you got to do.
Exactly. So, like, they got the gummy. I don't want to get stuck in there. Sometimes it sneaks down in between the teeth. You're in trouble.
So I'll tell you about spending money, right? So I'll tell you 2 things. One, I bought a camera. It was like $4,000. The best camera. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And then the next year they came out with the upgraded version of it, and I bought that. Now
no way.
And let me tell you something. The one that's $5,000, there's 2 things that the other one doesn't do, and why am I always using the older one more than the other one? And I can't bring myself to sell the more expensive one because I do need it for the 2 different things that it does. So
oh, my God.
I've been trying. I'm like, I need to just sell it because I don't hardly use it because I got the other one and I love the other one so much. So yes, I know about spending money. I say another one about food.
So in 2 years, you dropped $6,000.
In 2 years, I dropped $9,000.
Oh my God, $9,000 on 2 cameras.
$9,000 on 2 cameras, and mind you, I have 2 other cameras, and mind you, I have like $30,000 in lenses. So it's the whole thing. That's my thing. Like people buy cars and their car thing. My thing is camera and electronics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I got my own studio over here at the house. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
That looks great.
But the food thing, I tell you, I was out with a client, and they had a $275 steak. And everybody's like, what kind of steak will be worth $275? And we started talking about it so much, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to order it. And they're like, are you crazy? And I'm like, I ordered it. The chef came out, sat down with me, interviewed me, asked me like what my palate was like, what I liked, how I wanted the steak cooked. He spent like 15 minutes with me, went back, brought me out a steak that was so big it looked like an encyclopedia. That's the easiest way I can describe it to you on the radio. It was so thick, it was so big, and people were saying I could only eat like half of it. And when the bill came, my clients were so impressed that I ate that much of it. The client paid for it. I was like, oh, thank you.
Oh, you. Now, was it good? It was.
It was actually really good. It was a T-bone steak. Like he had some kind of fancy garlic butter stuff smeared all over. Like it was really good. It wasn't worth $275. I mean,
well, that's the thing. I worry about that. You know, you pay $275. Is it going to sing to me while I'm eating?
People go out there and pay Salt Bay $5,000 to hand sprinkle salt on their steak.
That's ridiculous.
And the steak is average and trash at best. Like you look at it, it's just like some run-of-the-mill steak. You're paying for the guy to sprinkle salt over his shoulder. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I waste a lot of money and I cry inside every day thinking about this camera. But the Sixers, the thing that kills me with the Sixers in the playoffs are the Celtics look so heartless and weak. How come we couldn't punk them? Because we were up on them too, and we let them come back. So if my team is mentally weak and not tough, how weak are we?
Bro, they didn't just let him come back. They in the series, they let them come back in the fourth quarter of Game 6 on their own. On their own, man.
And so my point to rolling right to the Eagles in Philadelphia, people just hate Philadelphia. I know Santa Claus is back a long time ago. Whatever we did to the rest of the country and our passion, they just hate us. Because Taylor hasn't scored a point in a fourth quarter in the series. They're not ripping him like they
No, not at all, no.
Ripping him. I mean, I'm like,
humbly.
Oh my goodness.
Humble. He's humble, BG. He's one of the best players in the world, humbly.
Hey, my favorite thing, too, is Al Horford getting punked with that timeout back.
That was awesome.
I wish I had you back. It is what it is. I love you, Young Thundercat. Great show today. And don't waste some more money and brush your teeth. You'll be all right.
You're the man, BG. See you later. Now, so in case you're just tuning in, BG just kind of ran through all the topics we got going. All right, so we started off the show talking about the report on Friday from Stephen Bondi, who covers the Knicks for the New York Daily News. And he put out on Friday that Joel Embiid is a name to watch for the New York Knicks. Now, I will say this again. If I was the Sixers, I would have put something out immediately. Because I can't have Joel Embiid, we know how emotional he gets, thinking that that's actually a possibility. I would have put out a highlight package of Embiid's MVP, our MVP, looking forward to next year. Right? Like, I would have done something immediately. Now, I know it's not in good practice, because if somebody gives you the greatest offer of all time, like if the Phoenix Suns call and say, hey, take our roster, we're just going to start over with Joe. And all we want is Joe. And you can have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Chris Paul. You can have all those guys. We just want Joel Embiid. So, yeah, that's never going to happen. If I were the Sixers, I would have honestly put something out right away to basically squash that. But they didn't. So it makes you think maybe it is a possibility. And there are a lot of people that wanted to trade Joel Embiid right after they lost the series to the Celtics. But it also continued all the way until Friday. Like, it didn't end. Like, it wasn't a one-day thing. And so my question, for those of you who want to trade Joel Embiid, because I know there are people that actually want to trade Joel Embiid. It's not out of emotion. They legitimately want to trade away Joel Embiid because you don't think that they can win with him. We had the Guru call in earlier today. Like, he's straight up said it. There are people that want to move on from Joe. Right now, we only have one team that's even been whispered, and that's the New York Knicks. So I'll ask you, do you want to trade Joel Embiid to the New York Knicks? You're not really getting much in return. I know people like Julius Randle because he puts up numbers. Doesn't do it for me. They're not going to trade Jalen Brunson, and I don't think Brunson and Embiid's a fair trade. I know it wouldn't just be straight up, but I know people want to trade Joel Embiid, and right now the Knicks are the only team that's mentioned out there. Do you want to see him 4 times in a season and him be in your conference and potentially see him in the playoffs? Because I know I don't. So that's what we started with. BG mentioned the disrespect. The reason why I brought up the disrespect, I got Eagles on the brain a little bit, right? We're starting to turn the page to the next part. I mean, it's the constant cycle. One team loses, we move on to the next one. And we're going to get into some Phillies in the 1 o'clock hour as well, because we haven't talked about them that much because we have so much Sixers that we've had to discuss. And, of course, it's been a wild season post-Eagles, obviously. But the Eagles are still getting this weird disrespect. I don't even know where I saw it. It was something on this weekend that I saw, and it was, Eagles are going to take a step back this year. I don't know how somebody could actually say that in the middle of May without seeing them on the field. On paper, they're just as good, if not better, than they were last year. Obviously, guys have left, but they've gotten other guys. Their offense is even more explosive. I don't think losing Isaac Seumalo is going to hamper this offense. Like, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be better because of the pieces that they've added. And it's another year of Jalen Hurts in the system. I think this team's going to be very good next year, and yet there's still this disrespect. And maybe it is just agenda. Maybe it is for clicks. I don't know. But I do know that after the Eagles beat the Niners in the NFC Championship game, it wasn't just the Niners players that were saying, oh, if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt. No, there were people in the media that were saying that. And I don't, for the life of me, see where they're coming from. The Eagles got to Brock Purdy. They injured him, which is a shame for him. But they got to him because they had the most sacks in the NFL last year. And they just continued to do that. So it happened. It's not a shock that they got to the quarterback. Obviously it sucked for the Niners that their backup quarterback got hurt, and then their quarterback got hurt, and they had no shot of winning. But I didn't think they were going to win regardless, even if Purdy played the whole game. And it must just be a Philadelphia disrespect thing. I don't think people say around here that Nikola Jokic stinks. But I know people outside of Philly think thing. It's the weirdest thing to me. It really is. Finally, he talked about spending a lot of money. If you didn't read it over the weekend, there's a new burger in the city at a restaurant, DBG. I have to always make sure I'm saying that correctly.
Dorial Beckham Green.
is Dorial Green Beckham. It's called DBG. And they're selling a burger for $700. And I asked the question, what's one of your more recent purchases that you've made that you've probably spent way too much money on? I do it on experiences, game tickets, road games, you name it. But I don't really buy anything for myself. You can ask my wife. When I do buy something, she is shocked. Shocked. I bought a Phillies pullover, like the old maroon and light blue. And I paid, it was at Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's Rally House. Paid, I think, $100 for it. It's a nice, really nice windbreaker, right? And when I walked in with it, she was like, oh my God, I'm happy for you. Like, she was happy for me. I'm very tight with my wallet. I am. I'm bad. Well, I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if it's good or bad.
I think that's good.
I guess it's good. But, I see things that I want. I go, I don't need it.
You're an experiences guy. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's more so me. But I also know that I don't go as far as other people go with the experiences, right? Like, know, I turn a one-day road trip to see a game where people turn it into a weekend, right? It's just the way it is.
Throw money at those Taylor tickets.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, what's the last kind of wild purchase that you've made where you've probably spent too much money? Now, look, I probably spend too much money on beer over a course of a year, right? My beer, there will never be an empty beer fridge. Okay, I got the beer fridge in the basement. It's never empty. If you ever come over, I got you covered.
Appreciate that.
Like, I'm one of those guys. People, Coach Camille, every time his gas tank is almost at midway, he refills it. I could never live that way. If I have half a case of a beer, I'm buying a new case.
Right.
Like, that's just what I do. Because in case...
Good host.
In case, out of nowhere, a couple people come over, you got to be prepared, right? So maybe that's my thing, but I haven't... It's not like I've gone out there and bought $400 worth of beer or a $400 box of beer. Was that the Mad Elf? It's a pretty expensive beer, right? People buy? Not $400, but...
Sounds like something to be expensive.
So,
Sure.
People do that stuff. So, I don't know. What's the last crazy purchase that you made? 610-632-0975. One more person calls me Gabe Kapler. I'm going to freak out. Alfie from Abington checks in.
Love Alfie.
About a wild purchase he made. He took a special friend to a Parisian restaurant in Manhattan. All right, so you're already dropping money. You're in Manhattan. All right. Requested by a lady friend, and it was tasting. So not even like a full-blown meal. 7 palm-of-your-hand-sized plates, 3 old-fashions, which I'm a big old-fashioned man. I don't even go crazy on the whiskey. Most expensive bottle of ball is $50. Angel's Envy. Love it. But I've never gone... Like, I know people that buy a couple $100.
No.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
2 bottles of wine. If you're getting the bottle at the restaurant, it's going to hurt you. And 2 desserts. Did you see the tweet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you saw the tweet. My man dropped $1,403. Now, he did say it was worth it because he was thanked for it. So good for you, Alfie. It's always good. Sure, if you're a nice enough guy, you could get thanked for $20 a person. You eating good in the neighborhood, you get 2 for $20. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to drop $1,400. But holy hell, $1,400?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
On a tasting, not even a legit meal. I hope you came away full. And meanwhile, you're in Manhattan, so you're probably staying there. And hotel rooms around there are ridiculous.
Crazy. It's up in New York this weekend. My trip did not touch what that was.
Did you stay at a hotel?
No.
Okay.
Big day trip guy on that one. Hey, I know what time the train gets us back into Jersey, and we're going to go get the car, and we're going back home. I'll drive all night long before I pay that. We did once the overnight.
A friend of mine, it was her birthday, and she wanted to go to New York City for it.
Oh, boy.
And, she wanted to go around town at night. So we had to get, we were out till 2, 3 in the morning. I think the total for the room, normal room, 2 beds, is $500. And again, we were out.
Ours are not cheap there.
We were out till 2, 3 in the morning. So it's not like, what did we get? And I had a train at 7 o'clock the next morning to get back.
Oh.
Because, I had a Sunday league baseball game. I can't hang them up. So I had to be back. But what we did was 8 of us stayed in the room.
8, 500. I'll do the math and figure it out at some point.
Yeah. So we split the price. I slept on towels that night. The cart was outside, the ladies' cart, and so I grabbed a bunch of towels and made it a bed for myself.
It works. Whatever you got to do.
Spent like $90 for a bed of towels. Let's go to Tom in Newtown Square. Tom, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I'm not dying to trade him, but if I can't honestly with myself feel that I rebuilt the team to be a championship caliber team, which I know they don't have the resources to do, I'm trading him because his market value is never going to be higher than it is right now. So why am I going to sit on it?
Well, so what is the market value? What are you getting? You're going to get role players and you're going to get picks, and whatever team he goes to will be a 50-win team. So you're going to be drafting in the bottom third of the first round.
So hold on. So Phoenix got Durant, right? And they gave up Bridges. Is Bridges just a role player, or is he maybe could be a Robin? Maybe not your Batman. I agree with that, but could he be the second?
I love Mikal Bridges. He's the best player on a team that I think lacks talent. Now that's not taken away from Mikal Bridges, right? Don't get me wrong. If Mikal Bridges comes here, let's say you do the exact same trade, you get Mikal Bridges and he's paired with Maxey and Harden. Because Harden would have still been here.
No, I'm not re-signing him.
No, I'm saying if you did it mid-season, right?
Okay.
And so now it's Maxey and Harden and Bridges. Is that team beating the Celtics in the second round? I don't know.
If I'm trading Embiid, that's not my goal. If I'm trading Embiid, I'm blowing it up, and I'm restarting. I'm not going to call it the process, and we have nightmares of what that was, because that was bad drafting. But if you do it right where you trade Embiid and you get a package of maybe someone like Bridges, probably 4 trade options to switch picks and all that horse, how the Nets did with the Celtics 8 years ago. Then you start with Max, you start with that player, and then you start building. And it may take 3-4 years where you're back to this point. But I'd rather do that than where am I going to be 2 years from now if I had Embiid and I'm stuck.
All right, so I'll ask you, would you rather blow it up now, or would you rather do the punt season where you kind of you play out the final year at Tobias? It's another year of Maxey. He eventually comes up for a contract. And then the next year's free agent class is huge, and you get a star player that way. And now it's Maxey, whoever that free agent is, and Joel Embiid, and then, of course, all the other players you pick up.
Do you know how many teams every year think they're going to keep on getting these stars?
No, I know. I'm asking you, what would you prefer doing?
That's my answer. You build by good drafting, whether it's the NFL, NHL, NBA. You got to look at Denver, look at Golden State. I'm not stall hunting like Brent Brown.
Right.
I'm punting. Oh, not punting.
He's also style developing. That was Zaire.
Yeah, that really worked out well. We are a slow, old team in short, right? We got Tucker, Harden, Embiid. That doesn't work. You need to. I'm not saying it's Embiid's fault, but they build it awfully around him. The only option I would do to keep him, right, is if you call the Bulls and hey, you want to get rid of DeRozan, you want to blow it up, you want to get rid of Levine. Here's Harris, here's Maxey, here's your young player, an expiring contract. And I'll roll next year with Harden, Levine, DeRozan, and Embiid, and I'll give it a shot one more time with Embiid. But unless I'm not just tinkering and maybe getting another Anthony Melton and saying, we rebuilt the win. Unless I can do something extreme like that, and then I'll give it a go again. And if I had a Levine and DeRozan to pair with...
Now I'll ask the question that I've been asking everyone who is still pro-trade Embiid. Right now, the only team that we've heard is the Knicks. Would you do it?
For what? What do you mean the Knicks?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You're getting picks, and you're getting probably Julius Randle or something.
Not that I'm excited about Randle. He ain't Bridges. But, no, I would trade to any team that's going to be the best offer.
Okay. All right, so you're ready to move. Tom's ready to move. I don't want to do it to the Knicks. I don't want to do a period. I mean, I've been pretty, stern about that. I'm listening to calls. Like if Daryl Morey it would be wrong for him not to listen to calls, but it would have to completely blow me out of the water. It's the MVP, man.
I'm listening on speaker. I'm not intently in the air.
Yeah, I got you.
Put back in the chair. Make me lean up in the chair and
make
really
sure it's
listen
the
to what you
burner.
got.
Make sure it's the burner phone too, so nobody
That's
catches,
a good point. Home
nobody
office.
catches wind of this.
Home office.
610-632-0975. Our 12 o'clock hour brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. I have a great answer on something that somebody spent too much money on from Andrew. And I've done something similar to this. So we'll give that answer coming up. 610-632-0975. Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cuz. We'll be back tomorrow right here on The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A price tag for James Harden. I'm Ray Dunn, and this update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. You may not always need a new water heater, but when you do, choose Bradford White. Over the weekend, Brian Windhorst said on his podcast there is an appetite for a $200 million contract for James Harden out there in the NBA. The Sixers guard, who will opt out of his deal, is the most he can make is a $201.7 million contract over 4 years. Elsewhere in the NBA, Jimmy Butler clowned Al Horford, and the Heat went up 3-0 on the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Carmelo Anthony announced his retirement earlier today. Looking in the world of Philadelphia sports, the Phillies got back to their winning ways over the weekend. A 12-3 victory on Saturday, followed by a 2-1 victory yesterday. Bryson Stott with a pinch hit homer in the 7th yesterday to lead the Phillies to the win. They start a series with the Diamondbacks tonight. Eagles first-round pick Nolan Smith signed his contract. This update's also brought to you by
97.5 The Fanatic.
$12.50. 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas filling in for the Cuz. He'll be back tomorrow. Now, Anthony missed out big time today. Big time. Today is a special day for me. I always love when we get food dropped off. But my God, is it a special treat when it's dropped off from the area I lived at for 5 years and moved out a year ago and have not really had the time to go back and have. We just had some Deeks barbecue dropped off, and I was a big Deeks man living in Manayunk because it's on the way from here, depending on which way you go back, right? I usually didn't go Green Lane. I would jump on a City Ave and then go through Manayunk that way. And when you come off the exit, Deeks is right there on the corner. And there were a lot of days where, especially when my wife was working nights, and I just knew, all right, I got to take care of myself tonight. I would just go to Deeks, dude, and grab something. And it's just so freaking good. So Deeks just dropped off food. They've been offering some of the area's best barbecue since 2010. Deeks Barbecue, home of the brisket cheesesteak and Philly's finest ribs. And seriously, Philly's finest ribs. I just crushed a bunch of ribs during the break as fast as I could. Ray, you got to learn better, man. Because poor Ray's taking his time, making his plate. Oh, I'll do a little dab of this, little dab of that. We're back, bro.
Yeah, I'm staring at it.
We're
now.
back. And that's the worst feeling when you're just looking at the food and your mouth is probably salivating. Don't worry, we have a couple callers, so I'll get to them, and you can munch when I'm talking to the callers. But dude, you got to learn the art of just crushing the food.
I always miss the food. I am so excited when I got the email today. There was going to be food because it's like without fail. And early on, when I was here during the day, because now I've been more here during the evenings, early on it was incredible. I would work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday would be the drop. It was amazing how I missed it. But now I saw the thing today, and I got to be honest, my mouth has been watering since I saw that email.
Oh, just the email.
Just the email got me excited.
Well, dude, it's so good. And if you're throwing a Memorial Day or graduation party, I know graduation parties, I just got invited to my neighbors recently. So he's coming. Deeks Barbecue does an amazing catering party tray. You can do all kinds of stuff like that brisket cheesesteak, like the great ribs that I just enjoyed. There's 2 locations. There's the Deeks Manayunk, which I was telling you about. They feature catering, takeout, or you can order through Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash. But they also have Deeks Barbecue in Germantown, which I have to check out because this sounds fantastic. Not only do they have the food, but they got a full bar with a great bourbon selection, craft beers, indoor and outdoor seating. We got the beautiful weather coming up now. And there's room for private events and large screens to catch all the games. So check out Deeks Barbecue in Germantown as well. Deeks is giving away a Deeks Barbecue tasting. This is really cool. A Deeks Barbecue tasting, bourbon instructional, and bourbon flight for 6 people at their flagship store in Germantown. Go to the contest page on 97.5thefanatic.com to enter. That's an awesome day out with the boys, or if your girlfriend or wife, significant other is into bourbon. That's a great 6 people. Deeks Barbecue tasting, bourbon instructional, and bourbon flight for 6 people. Go to the contest page at 97.5thefanatic.com. So shout out to Deeks for dropping off an incredible spread of food. I know the best show ever is enjoying theirs right now as well. And Ray's about to enjoy his any second now.
Yeah. Callers on line 1, 2.
Yeah. We'll take care of that. So you can enjoy a little bit. Now, real quick before I get to the phones, the tweet from Andrew Ellis. So some of the fun that we're having today is the crazy purchase that you've made. This in honor, I guess you could say, of the $700 hamburger that can be found in the city. That I read the story of this weekend. And I heard the morning show talking about it today. So Andrew Ellis wanted to see the view. So he went to the top of the Four Seasons, the bar that's up there.
Oh, yeah.
And he spent $120 for 4 drinks. He said he was a little regretful. Now, I've done that. I did the, not the Sears Tower in Chicago, but the Johns Hopkins Tower is the second largest one in Chicago, and they have the bar up there. And, of course, we go up there, and what happens? Storm comes through. And you can't see. And a beer's like $15 up there because you're paying for it. So I've done that. There's a historical radio TV tower in Lithuania. You know, there's a lot to that tower, even though it's no longer operating. It's a historical monument because of what happened back in 1992. And it still stands. And they built a rotating restaurant at the top, which is awesome. It goes really slow, but you're really high up and you're looking all around the country, which is really, really freaking cool. Like you'll see the Capitol building or the Capitol, like the center city, and you'll see everything, which is an awesome spot. So if you're ever in Lithuania, Ray, go check it out.
Yeah, never know.
Go check it out. But same thing. You know, you're dropping extra money to be up there because of the experience. So I guess it goes back to experiences, but $120 for 4 drinks, dude, that's tough.
The Johns Hopkins thing that happened to you was me this weekend at the Rockefeller Tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful Friday, beautiful Sunday. Saturday was the day we went up. So we got there. They're like, you can go all the way up,
but you're not.
But you're just going to see white clouds. So you might as well not. I was like, thanks, appreciate that. Well, I'll remember that next time. Check the weather before you buy the top of the rock tickets. But happens to everyone. But if I do find myself in Lithuania, I'll take you up on the.
All right, yeah, let me know.
There.
By the way, 2 open lines, 610-632-0975. Adrian Wojnarowski just tweeted 12 minutes ago about some coaching stuff that's going on. Of course, the Sixers have the Bucks are narrowing a group of top candidates in franchise's head coaching search. Now, Ray, you and I talked about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
The Sixers have a vacancy.
It's true.
And they have a good roster. So do the Bucks. So do the Suns. The Raptors, not as much, but hey, you never know. So other teams, good teams, have vacancies right now where you go, wow, that's a dream job to have. Like I can stroll right in and have the MVP and Joel Embiid. That's awesome. Wait, I can stroll right in and have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. That sounds pretty good too. Oh wait, I can stroll right in and have this Suns roster. You mean to tell me this is the thing? So the Bucks are narrowing a group of top candidates in franchise's head coaching search. That includes Nick Nurse, who, of course, Sixers name, Golden State assistant Kenny Atkinson, and Toronto assistant Adrian Griffin. These coaches will be part of the final conversations with Milwaukee leadership this week. He then follows up and says Nurse looms prominently in Phoenix and Philadelphia searches, 2 sources say. So Nick Nurse, obviously a hot commodity for teams with open coaching spots. And, Bucks, Suns, Sixers would be the 3 if I had to choose one of the 3. Or if I had to choose out of all the vacancies, I would choose one of those 3. Pretty good positions to be in if you're Nick Nurse. But Nick Nurse, like we said, the Sixers, and this was something that you said you were worried about when we had the Daryl Morey press conference last week. Morey said it was going to be a long search for a head coach. Well, if Nick Nurse is a top candidate, the Bucks and the Suns have opening jobs, and they may not have a long search, and they go, this is our guy, and they grab him. Well, now what? You're now playing from behind.
Yeah, I was worried. Again, you don't want to rush the thing. I understand what he's saying. He wanted to, he made it very clear in that press conference. Careful thinking is the name of the game over there. They carefully thought out the Doc Rivers decision, apparently, somehow, and they are going to carefully think out and carry a long process out about this head coaching search. I'm okay with you thinking this through. If you're sitting there thinking it while everyone else is doing, that's going to be an issue, especially when it's the guy I want. So that's right now, a little antsy back here.
Yeah,
I saw that.
And if you're Nick Nurse, I know he's in town this week. Keith Pompey report. I don't know if it was this week or if it happened over the weekend. Just Keith Pompey said that, within the next week, Nick Nurse would interview with the Sixers. If you're Nick Nurse, you're going to get hired.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a given. But it's one thing if the Milwaukee Bucks go, listen, Nick, if you want the job, hey, we'll get the paperwork going right now. Talk to your agent, take your time, all this kind of stuff. That's great. If you're the Sixers and you go, all right, Nick, thanks for your time. we'll get back to you. If you're Nick Nurse, you go, "You'll get back to me." Like, I'm a championship-winning head coach. Ignore the fact that Kawhi Leonard was a freak. But I'm a championship-winning head coach, and you haven't won a championship in 40 years. The Bucks recently won, and they think I'm their guy. That is a bit of a concern. Now, maybe Nick Nurse isn't the guy that Daryl Morey wants. I don't know. There was that weird J.J. Redick odds-on favorite to be the head coach of the Sixers, which I think is stupid.
Please.
I hope that's just them, getting, reaction. Please don't do that. But yeah, that's the latest with the head coaching search right now. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that the Bucks have narrowed down their 3 coaches. And here's the deal. I like Kenny Atkinson to a degree. I thought he got screwed in Brooklyn when KD and Kyrie came and they kicked him to the curb and brought in Steve Nash. He then left and it wasn't all that great. So, I don't know. I thought he was building something in Brooklyn. I thought he was a decent head coach. But that was kind of also the same thing with me with Frank Vogel. I thought Frank Vogel in Indiana was pretty good. You had Paul George. I get it, but it's not like that roster was stellar. And he was a pretty good head coach. Then he goes to the Lakers, and, yeah, I know he won in the bubble, but, who knows if that was real or not. But if you're the Bucks, and your top 3 candidates are Nick Nurse, Kenny Atkinson, and Adrian Griffin, are you really thinking hard about that?
I'm going to rip the audio of you talking up Kenny Atkinson. I'm going to go find whoever their PR guy. We're going to send that to them and start convincing them going Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, look what he did in Brooklyn. Give him a shot with the stars here in Milwaukee. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. Maybe Kenny's the man. You want Kenny Atkinson.
I'm doing this for Philadelphia right now.
Come on down. You're the next head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Seriously, if you're the Bucks, you're doing your due diligence and interviewing multiple people.
Right.
But if you're really asking me, Nick Nurse, Kenny Atkinson, if I asked you, Ray, hey, Ray, I don't know what a Milwaukee accent is.
Yeah, that was great.
You're listening to Milwaukee radio.
Nice.
Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that it's down to Nick Nurse, Kenny Atkinson, and Adrian Griffin. Who would you like, caller Ray?
I want Nick Nurse. Give me Nick Nurse. Please.
So Philadelphia better hurry up if Nick Nurse is their top guy. All right, let's get back to the phone. 610-632-0975. Enjoy your ribs, Ray. Let's go to Brian in Center City. Brian, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's going on?
How are you?
I just taking offense to your comment that you said people actually think Joel Embiid thinks outside of the city. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. And then on top of it, at this point, Joel politicked for an MVP this year so hard, and he got it because he deserved it. I get it. And Jokic just goes and proves that he's the better big man because he's up 3-0 in the Western Conference Finals. And what did Joel do? What did he do in Game 7 in the biggest spot of his career ever? What did he do?
He came up small.
Came up small. So who's the better guy? Maybe Jokic does deserve the 2 MVPs that he had, that everyone was screaming about for the last 3 years. Oh, my God, I can't believe this. This is an atrocity that he wasn't given the MVP. Just explain.
Well, hold on. Can I ask him who's saying that he doesn't?
Wait. I'm not sure, but have you lived in the city of Philadelphia?
No, I know, but I'm saying right now, I think everybody's giving Jokic his flowers this past week. No, Embiid's been getting crushed for a week.
Right now, but when everybody was clamoring about,
no, you're right. And Embiid, especially the second MVP, a lot of people were upset about it.
But I'm just saying, like everyone's like, oh, Dr. J's a traitor because he thinks that Jokic is better than Embiid. I can't believe it. Everyone in the city's like, no, it's just a travesty to think that Jokic could be better than Embiid. But wait a second, but he is.
Yeah, he might be. I mean, look.
No. At this point, right now, today, he is. And
okay.
Embiid has played enough games to have a career in this NBA that you can. It's not like he's only been in the league for a year or two. Let's see what happens. They both played in the NBA long enough, okay?
Okay.
One has made it to where they are, and the other has...
You would agree that Embiid's still a good ball player, though, right?
He's incredible. He's the MVP this year. I don't know why you were saying that people out of the city think he stinks.
Well, no, I was saying the way we talk about Jokic, right? Look, do we say that Jokic isn't good defensively and Embiid should get more love. Yeah, but I would think I've seen videos of Nuggets fans ripping Embiid to make their point of Jokic. And what I'm saying is I don't know if I see it this way because I am a Philadelphian and I go, all right, they're taking shots at my guy or something like that. My question was, it always feels like outside looking in, people rip. And it wasn't just an Embiid thing. I also talked about the Eagles, too. Like, there's people that still say, oh, if Brock Purdy was healthy, the Niners would. Really? Like, I don't know. I don't think the Niners would have beaten the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Why is that even like the Niners? Brock Purdy was their third quarterback. Like, who, like.
You heard the storylines. Brock Purdy, he's better than Garoppolo. Is the best thing for the Niners, and he's going to go into Philadelphia and win.
Agreed. That was an idiotic narrative by the mainstream sports media.
Okay,
but it doesn't. But again, like I just take offense to somebody saying that people outside of the city think Embiid stinks. Nobody thinks Embiid stinks.
Why do you take offense? Why do you take offense?
Because nobody says that. It's like you're creating something out of thin air.
Okay. I'm sorry, Brian. Sorry to offend. I remember Brian. He was John last time. I think he was the Flyers fan that was really upset about the Flyers. And, I went to Phillies games when the Phillies stunk. It's okay.
Yeah. The ribs are good, man.
That's good.
That was
good
a good
ribs.
time. Thanks for covering that one.
Look. Okay. Nobody thinks Joel Embiid stinks. It's knuckleheads on Twitter that say stuff. But don't tell me people outside of Philly don't diminish Embiid's game probably a little bit more than they should. Look, he did the mainstream media thing. Going into the playoffs, the Sixers had no shot whatsoever because of this roster. No shot. Well, yeah, they did end up losing, but they were up with 4 minutes left in Game 6 of a closeout game against the Celtics, and they pooped the bed. But you can't go, they got no shot. There are people outside of Philly that take shots at Philadelphia. We literally talk about this all the time. Now, I don't know where he's coming from with the Jokic thing. Yes, people thought Embiid should have won the MVP last year, and I'm one of them. Jokic is a hell of a player. Yeah. I don't think anybody has ever said, and that's my thing. Nobody here has said, maybe you can't take stinks too literally, Brian. Please. You can't, he stinks. He's people say that about the best players all the time, right? A guy goes 1 for 4 in a game. He stinks. No. But my point is, when we talk about Jokic and we do the Jokic v. Embiid thing, before this past week, we always said, look, Jokic is a hell of a player, but Embiid doesn't get the love that he should be getting. In Denver, you go to Denver. There's our man Kyle from Crossing Broad. He went out to Denver. He flew out there and was interviewing Nuggets fans walking into the stadium, and they were crushing Embiid, to the point where it's not just the camera's on me. No, they were crushing. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Yeah. It's well, hold on a second. You're acting like the guy's a role player. Embiid is a star in this league. So that's all I'm getting at, man. You don't have to take offense to it.
And also, I want to see where he was on the Jokic Embiid when we go, the playoffs show everything. Yeah, Jokic's having a great postseason, and I'm not taking anything away from him. The 2 MVP seasons, gets swept in the second round, loses in the first round in a gentleman's sweep. I'm not sitting here trying to take shots. I'm just telling you what the fact is on this one. When we sit here and try and, the MVP is this, the MVP has to do that, postseason-wise, yes, Joel Embiid is a massive reason why the 76ers failed in the postseason this year.
Yeah.
He did not have a good postseason. Doesn't change.
Well, I can't say he didn't have a good postseason.
Didn't have the good end of the postseason.
Game 6, fourth quarter. Game 7, he was awful.
Right.
Games 3, 4, 5 are the reason why you won games.
Right.
I had a guy last week tweet at me. When was Joel Embiid ever the best player on the court in the playoffs? Well, you could make the case for those 3 games. Now, I don't know if he meant Sixers or if he meant overall. right? Because one of those 3 games, Jason Tatum, I think, scored 2 more points than him. But the Sixers won that game. And Embiid, I think, had 4 blocks, right? So, we look for things to say when we have an agenda of some sort. And Brian's right. People looked for ways to tear down Jokic a little bit. Not as much as the way people outside of Philly tear down Embiid. Not as much as people outside of Philly tear down the Eagles. Not as much as how people outside tore down the Phillies when they made the playoffs. They created that playoff spot this year. Well, hey, okay, they did it. And they got there. And then they beat the Cardinals, beat the Braves, beat the Padres, and got to the World Series. Real quick, I have one thing to bring up. I brought this up during the break, but it popped up again. I refreshed Twitter. Dove Kleiman, who covers the NFL and puts out a bunch of... he's one of these guys. He's like that Ari Myrov guy.
Yeah.
Who basically just copies and pastes.
Yeah, they take news, and every once in a while they get an opportunity to claim news.
They've never broke a story.
Right.
They just... And it's fine. I see a lot of things that I learn or see have popped up from them.
They have done a good job of mastering the art of the Twitter break.
Correct. But Kleiman tweeted a photo with the eyeball emoji.
Oh, boy.
First look at Stetson Bennett in a Rams uniform.
Get scared.
Does anybody care?
Hey, man.
I know he won a couple national titles in Georgia. Does anyone really think that, that's take a look at this?
We just lost our listenership in Georgia.
Stetson Bennett. No, I have a big Alabama following.
Right. Oh, so you're taking shots. This is your bias. This is Alabama Andrew coming out.
No, because I got Andrew from Georgia. Great caller. Great tweeter.
Well, you just lost him.
No. He'd probably agree. Good for Stetson Bennett and all he did with the Bulldogs, but do I really need first look?
Stetson Bennett's been counted out before, and they're counting him out again.
Come on now.
The guy on my radio said so.
We got one open line, 610-632-0975. Ray, you enjoy those ribs after you do your update. Again, shout out to Deke's Barbecue. Incredible food drop. The ribs were tremendous. Ray, take a bite as I continue to do the read and tell me how. I want this live on the air. Specifically
I'm out of the ribs.
Specifically for Coach Camille. All right, so you got the mac and cheese.
Yeah,
I did not get the mac yet.
Oh, you're missing out. This is some good stuff.
So good mac and cheese, please. I want the people to hear. You got to give me an or something. It's
really good.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Ray.
You could hear me chewing. I didn't want to talk through my food, but now I am.
Now you are. So I'll do the rest of the read before you do your update because I know how it goes. While you're doing an update with food in your mouth, it's kind of tough. Deke's Barbecue offering incredible food. It's some of the best Aries barbecue since 2010. Home of the brisket cheesesteak, Philly's finest ribs, and of course the mac and cheese that Ray just dove in. And they have an awesome giveaway. Deke's Barbecue tasting, bourbon instructional, and bourbon flight for 6 people at their flagship store in Germantown. Go to the contest page on 97.5thefanatic.com to enter. I'm going to go back out there during this next break to enjoy some more. But first, let me tell you about something awesome. You can enjoy Wildwood
Anthony Gargano Show. Now
on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Just crushed another rib during the break, Ray. Fast enough so that I'm back here.
You're just a pro. I got to get better at this.
You'll learn. You got to learn. First thing I learned was bladder training, because you can't leave mid-segment.
Getting better at that.
And you only have a certain amount of time. And then the ability to eat fast. Those are the two things. If radio's taught me anything, it's how to go to the bathroom appropriately and how to eat appropriately.
I'm getting better with the bathroom. I haven't really started working on the eating thing.
Okay, that's next. Don't you worry. That's the next step. Everything else, all those buttons, who cares about the buttons? It's the life lessons that you've learned.
Yeah, I've learned more about the free food. That's been a big key piece of all this.
Now, real quick, before I get back to the phones. I said this earlier. So Carmelo Anthony officially announced his retirement, even though it's been like 6 years coming. So Melo retires, and there's a lot of social media Carmelo Anthony related. Carmelo Anthony will be in the Hall of Fame. No question about it. First ballot, right? He's, let me see.
Yeah.
I want to see exactly where he's at. All-time leading scorers, NBA. I just want to see where he is ranked, because I know he's up pretty high. I still haven't seen his name. I must be doing something incorrectly. I sure am. He's up here somewhere. Forgive me. But Carmelo Anthony is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Scored a lot of points.
Working
to confirm the number.
And I look at it and I go, he's ninth. Sorry. Ninth all time, Carmelo Anthony. NBA.com's list was awful. ESPN.com, thank you. So Melo's top 10 leading scorer all time, NBA history. It just doesn't feel like, does Carmelo feel like, if he retired 4 years ago, it would have been different. Like, I don't know.
You're used to him not playing basketball.
I see all the posts, right? And I'm kind of just like, all right, dude, chill out. Like,
I'm gonna miss watching him so much.
Yeah,
you've been missing him for a while.
Like, I just saw a Bleacher Report one with him and LeBron and all the jerseys they've worn, and they're hugging, but it's like AI version, not like legit Melo and LeBron. And I'm just kind of like, all right, like, are we shedding tears over Melo, who really hasn't played in a long time? Yeah, he was on a roster.
Friends with LeBron.
Is that what it is? But here's the thing. It made me think. When James Harden eventually retires, Harden never won. Melo never won, right? Did Melo never won? So Harden never won. Is it kind of going to be the same thing? Now, he will always play until he retires. He's not going to be on rosters as a like, I don't think Harden will ever come off the bench.
Harden hype man on the end of the bench?
Yeah, that's never going to happen. Like, when James Harden eventually retires, and if he goes to Houston, I guess I could put money down right now and say he won't ever win a championship if he plays 4 years in Houston. Like, how is Harden going to be remembered? Like, Carmelo Anthony is ninth all time in scoring. And I'm sure people don't go, oh, all time great. There is no way there are people that say Carmelo Anthony's an all time great.
Really? You don't think people are having that?
No, for sure. I think it's a generational thing. I think that's a big part of it, too. Because he was a scorer.
Yeah. I mean, I think people look at it as, he was a really talented scorer who was electrifying in his prime, and you enjoyed watching, but never quite reached that.
He was never a winner. Like, that's going to be a thing.
Oh, that's going to be a thing. Well, then the people that defend Carmelo come back and say, well, he didn't win in the NBA, but you got to give him the gold medals.
Yeah, gold medals,
Jim
man.
Boeheim's been living off of his success with Carmelo since then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of, like, generationally, this generation of basketball, he's a great of this time.
Oh, look, he's top 10 all time.
Right.
In scoring.
Also off the dome, I think a lot of people, like, it's going to be hard to erase when you talk about all the jerseys, the later jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, when you talk about the Nuggets, like, you're watching Nuggets Melo, you're watching early Knicks Melo, like, very different Melo than, Houston Rockets or OKC or what was it, the Lakers at the end. Like, you're not seeing the exact same Carmelo Anthony. I think that's the other thing about, like, this timing of the retirement. You got it so late in the game where people aren't having that gut check of, I'm going to miss watching an all-time great. It's like, yeah, man, the best Melo I've watched has been the YouTube compilation from over a decade ago at this point.
Like the last 4 years of Melo's career. Now, Melo did not play last season. The last 4 years. Houston 2018-19, he played 10 total games, made 2 starts. Then he goes to Portland, plays 58, starts all 58. Plays Portland another year, but is now off the bench. 69 games, 3 starts. And he's scoring 13 a game, so it's not like he's 20 or anything like that. And then Lakers, that was probably a favor to LeBron. But LeBron was hurt that year, so that was 2 years ago. I don't know. It's just like, he played for the Thunder.
Yeah.
78 games, man. Jeez. I don't know. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I see all the posts, and I'm like, I just feel like he's been done.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why I feel like he's been done. You said, 10 games with the Rockets? Then Portland's not exactly in your psyche.
Right.
Like, Portland's not exactly like, especially when,
you got Dame. Like, that's all you're thinking about. Eddie Sacchetti just tweets in, when I was trying to find Melo's rank, he guessed 42nd. He's 9th. 9th all time in scoring. But I don't think people think of him as an all-time great.
It's fair. I mean, I'm giving his flowers of his day because
Now, I know points is different, right? So it's not all just about points, but like the names behind Carmelo Anthony, Moses. Oh, he's the best centers I've ever seen in my life. Elvin Hayes, Hakeem the Dream, Durant, Oscar Robertson, Dominique Wilkins, Tim Duncan, and then you get to Paul Pierce. And Paul Pierce is great, but like those other names, when people talk about those players, they talk about them as if they're Greek gods.
Right.
And Melo does not come close to that kind of love from people.
No. He might have the most complete resume of a guy to not win an NBA title in terms of because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Right.
So if you remove the NBA ring, because they take into account the wholesale basketball experience.
Correct.
If you had a resume that did not include a ring, I would say he's probably close in terms of the accomplishments in the game of basketball to having a complete resume without that.
So quick, just Google on Hoops Hype, other players that never won a ring. Karl Malone, that's, he's Charles, Elgin Baylor, Chris Paul, and that will continue. Patrick Ewing, Reggie, John Stockton, Steve Nash, AI, obviously, Harden, Russ. I put him on here. Even though I like, Russ, OKC Russ was awesome to watch, but come on.
Fun to watch, not fun to win.
Dominique Wilkins. So, I don't even know if that point's valid. I don't know.
Well, I think, again, when you're looking at the wholesale basketball accomplishments, when people talk about winning, again, he didn't win in the context of the NBA. When they look at, he has this many gold medals, he has the college championship.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's where I come from on the whole resume. Not that I think he's better than all those players that you named.
You're
just
right.
looking at the body of work, and as they do, we have the conversation about different Hall of Fame. It would be just within the sports reach, the league's reach, not the sports reach. So I think that's the one thing he would, someone that stands Melo would probably, stay Melo, man. You're off on that point. And I'm just reacting from their side. Today, I'm like, I stopped watching Melo, but 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah. But, I mean, look, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. It's just I see all these posts, like the sob stories, and it's like, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like LeBron is still doing it. Right? James Harden, even though people are glad he opted out, and I am too, had a hell of a season this year.
Yeah.
When these guys retire, I feel like it's going to mean a little bit more, even though Melo is an all-time great.
Yeah, timing's everything. What do you
Yeah, that's true. Timing is everything.
Yeah, 10 ends up 9th, top 10 all-time in scoring. But
but this year,
maybe if he wasn't top 10, but he went a little bit sooner, a little bit closer to the prime, and it's like, wow, man, Melo had a career, and he doesn't even. And that's the other thing at the end, because I think the end people start ring counting with the guy's career, where they're like, all right, well, what's he going to do to get himself a ring? And they're doing it right now with Harden. What's he going to do to get himself a ring?
They're doing it with LeBron, even though he's won. And it's, man, if he gets swept by the Nuggets, what is that going to mean toward his legacy? I don't know. What does it mean toward his legacy? He's still a freaking all-time. He's top 2, right? if he gets swept by the Nuggets, stinks for him.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to go home
Tough, buddy.
and be upset. Like, I don't know. It's not going to change how I feel about LeBron.
No. But it does for, well, I don't know if it really does for some people. Some people.
Well, it
put on
does
the
because I
effect
know that, the Church of Jordan people, right? Anthony would, Jordan would never have lost, got swept by Jokic.
Jordan would never have been in the playoffs at age 38. But hey, man.
Look, I keep myself out of the conversation. I saw Michael Jordan play in person once. He was wearing a Wizards jersey. By the way, congratulations to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He was signed by the Falcons today.
Woo!
So look out for Atlanta.
Great.
To the phones, Todd. What's going on, man? Todd.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's up?
I just want to start off with some gratitude and thank you guys for all the work you do. I listen to you guys all the time.
Oh, thank you,
on the
Todd.
way in and out of work, and it always pumps me up. So thank you guys for your work.
Well, I'm glad. Whatever you do, thank you.
Thanks, man. So I actually work at the Philadelphia Cricket Club, and
then definitely thank you.
Yes, I love going into the gym and talking to the guys about what's going on sports radio, and yeah, you guys do great work. So thank you.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate that.
You got it, man. So there's a couple of things, I guess. I'm one of the few that I think Carmelo is an all-time great scorer, especially on the Nuggets. And when I say that, it's because all facets of his offense were amazing. His post-game especially, I think it's very underrated. His face-up game, his post-game, the guy was a phenomenal scorer. So I have no problem saying he's an all-time great scorer. I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
All-time, yeah. So, I mean, I agree. Like, I believe that he is an all-time great scorer. He's top 10 all-time in scoring. I think there are people that look at Carmelo Anthony, and as I just mentioned the tweet, when I was trying to find out where he was, the guy thought he was 42nd all-time, right? Like, I think there are people that almost underrate Carmelo Anthony, and a lot of it has to do with rings, and he was, like you said, he was with Denver for a while, then he goes to the Knicks and was he led the league in scoring with the Knicks. Like, he was a very good player. They just came up small.
Yeah, I don't know how much the off-the-court issue started to affect him because I started hearing some drama with him and his baby mama or all this weird stuff that happened. So maybe that played into effect as he got later in the career. But in the beginning, I used to watch him, post guys like Kobe, and he did whatever he wanted with those guys. So phenomenal all-time great scorer, great career. I thought he retired years ago. I didn't realize he just retired. He's still around. But phenomenal scorer. Okay, so moving on. Why do you guys think it'd be a stupid move for J.J. Redick to be a coach?
Okay, first of all, I mean, if you've listened to the show, I'm not a big J.J. Redick guy because I think he weaseled his way out of Philadelphia. He signed a big contract, handshake agreement that he was going to take a smaller deal when his contract was up to be with the Sixers because they were ready to win at that point. He wanted to live close to his family, which was in Brooklyn, so he signed with the New Orleans Pelicans. I could go on for days as to why I think J.J. Redick, I don't want him here. He also is very pompous, and I think he's on ESPN and talks down to people all the time about how he knows basketball more than everybody else. So that's my thing. I also don't trust a guy who has zero coaching experience. I know that there have been guys that have had zero coaching experience and have been fine, but I also know that there are also guys like Steve Nash and Jason Kidd who had zero coaching experience. They go right up head coach and then they fail. And I don't know. Like, look, I could sit down with J.J. Redick and say, hey, man, what would you do if you were a coach? And maybe he wows me. But just based off of my own personal feelings toward J.J. Redick, I do not want him as the head coach of the Sixers.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's a valid point.
Plus, you're ready to win. Like as much as people are bothered by the Sixers, they are still ready to win. If I bring in Nick Nurse, who is a proven winning head coach, has won an NBA championship, and knows how to work with stars, like to me, that's better than J.J. Redick.
Could we say the same about Doc Rivers when he came here?
Well, Doc Rivers won once in 2008, and it was with a super team. Like, Doc Rivers had a track record that wasn't good. I don't think Nick Nurse has a bad track record.
Why do you think they let him go in Toronto?
I don't know. That's a good question, Todd.
Yeah, I hear you. And then as far as Embiid goes, so something's got to change with the team. The way it is right now, clearly we can't get over that hump where the going gets really tough. So I don't know if he's going to stay. He's not a leader at the moment. So either he needs to become a leader, or we have to bring the leader in, and he's got to become the number two. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't think you're crazy there, Todd, and I appreciate the call. Now, I'm not trading Joe. Again, I'm not trading Joel Embiid. But Anthony talked about this a lot last week. Maybe you need to bring in a guy who will be 1A. He's 1A, Joe's 1B. Embiid's going to have his night where he's still dropping 30, 40 points. I mean, you have seen it with Embiid and Harden, but Harden disappeared in the big spot. And so maybe you need to bring in a guy. Let me give you a name that would be perfect. Jimmy Butler. God, it pains me. Like a guy like Jimmy Butler would honestly be perfect, right? And it's not just because we've seen it here before, and he's doing it now, but Butler's a guy that's not afraid to talk to Joe, and he's not afraid to take over in a game and do stuff his own way and blah, blah. So, obviously, Jimmy Butler, there's not many Jimmy Butlers out there. You're going to have to find somebody that has that kind of, Anthony keeps on saying the lion, right? You need the real lion, and maybe Embiid's not the lion. I don't think that's crazy. I do think you need to bring in a guy. Like, that's why I was excited for P.J. Tucker, because it was a toughness, an attitude physically and mentally that you have not had for years. And I love that move. But P.J. Tucker is your fifth option in the starting five. P.J. Tucker's your 10th option in the playoff rotation until he starts shooting. So you probably need a little bit more. So I don't think Todd's crazy there. I'm just not ready to trade him yet. Let's go to the Weave. The Weave, you're on the Fanatic.
Yo!
What's up?
Man, what's going on, man?
What's up?
Yo, I used to be on WIP all the time.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Fanatic, man.
Yo, man, I was back there with Big Daddy, Ricky Ricardo, Don Johnson.
Well, welcome to the Fanatic with Andrew Salchunas, Anthony Gargano, Tyrone Johnson, of course, John Kincaid, Bob Cooney, Jamie Lynch, Pat Egan, Ray Dunn.
This is like heaven, man. And I'm down here in Elkton, Maryland, and I guarantee you, and I've been working at the Walmart for 20 years, man. And I guarantee you, I'm going to have all these fans switch over because I've already got a lot of complaints about WIP.
Okay, I get it. We move on. I got you.
All right.
What do we got? I know you want to talk James Harden. You got complaints about that station. That's cool. What do you have on Harden?
Here's what I got. You're going to have to keep the guy, man. I mean, there's no other alternative than to keep him right now. And if you look at what Denver did, where they had Murray, they depended on him in the first half of the game because Jokic got in foul trouble. Then they brought him in at the end of the game. The Sixers need to use Joel Embiid in that way where they can bring him in. And he's got to stay healthy. I understand that. You know what I mean? And he's got to stay off the floor. But like Miami does, where they develop players, the Sixers ain't developing nobody.
No, I mean, the Heat just keep on finding second-round picks and undrafted free agents that keep on doing things, which is incredible, and that's a testament to Eric Spoelstra as well. Now, here's the thing. So you say they have to keep Harden. Now, Harden already opted out. So you would have to pay him 4 years, $200 million. Are you doing that?
I hate to say it, but I go ahead and pay him. Then I would be looking at a trade for Tobias, you know what I mean? Where it's somewhere along the line. This, whatever they were doing, the tanking and everything, is forget about it. You know what I mean? I mean, this year they could have won.
Should have been the year.
At least made it to the final. I was there in Toronto for a game, for two of the games. And they should have won that.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to, Nick Nurse might be the best person to bring in. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I said this last week. If I hear the Sixers have hired either Nick Nurse or, they promoted Sam Cassell or Monty Williams, those are the three guys that I'd be happy with.
That name there, that would be my other choice. Would be Sam Cassell.
Yeah, I mean, the only guys I don't want are Budenholzer and Mike D'Antoni, whose name's been popping up. But I appreciate the call, Weave. Thank you, man. But, yeah, I mean, Nick Nurse is a great option. I read the report earlier from Woj that the Bucks have narrowed down their coaching candidates to Nick Nurse, Kenny Atkinson, and there was one other name. And, it's Nick Nurse is probably the best candidate of the three. So the Sixers have to act fast if they want Nick Nurse to be the head coach. I'm not bringing James Harden back 4 years, $200 million. And it's so funny that he brought up Jamal Murray, because I was just having this conversation with Tyrone and Hunter during this past break, because we were talking about the playoffs and how funny it is that like people are complaining about what the ratings will be about the Nuggets and Heat. I love that people are complaining about the series before the series is even going to start, and it's not set in stone yet. Pretty much is. Watch the game first. Maybe you'll come away extremely entertained in Game 1, Heat Nuggets. Just watch it. Do me a favor, watch it before you. This is going to be bad ratings. I don't care. I don't care that it's not Lakers Celtics. I just want good basketball. That's all I care about. All right, can we agree there that I just want good basketball?
I agree there.
No matter what the championship matchup is, if it's not my team in it, I just want it to be good sports. That's it. So you're going to have Heat Nuggets for the most part. And we were just talking about how crazy it is that the second player on each of these teams, other than the Heat, because the Heat they have a bunch of guys that are stepping up. But it's a bunch of secondary players that are playing better than James Harden did throughout the entire series. Now, Harden had 2 immaculate games. That's why I keep on throwing him his flowers. Guy had a great season and had some great moments in the playoffs. Came up small in Game 6 and 7, Game 5, 6, and 7. Even though they won Game 5, but he wasn't great Game 5. But, throw that all aside. Jamal Murray has been consistently better in these playoffs, more so than James Harden. Jaylen Brown has been consistently better, more so than James Harden. You look at these teams, Anthony Davis, better than James Harden, consistently from start to finish in the playoffs, even though they're down 3-0, the Lakers. We crushed Joel Embiid because they lost in Game 7, and he was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But so was James Harden. And so my man, the Weave, wants to keep James Harden. I can't for the life of me do that when it didn't work again. When Joel Embiid is indeed the best player, maybe I need to bring in a secondary option that will be better than what James Harden has given you. And I think it's unfair to put it all on Joel Embiid. Yeah, Joel Embiid did not show up Game 7. And he came out small Game 6 and whined about not getting the ball. Yo, dude, ask for the freaking ball, okay? I'm not letting Joel Embiid off the hook by any means. But, as much as Jokic is getting his love, Jamal Murray's having incredible playoffs right now. And so he's having some help. When has Embiid had help over the years? He didn't have help in the Heat series last year. He never had help with Ben Simmons. His biggest help, and I just talked about the man, his biggest help has been J.J. Redick. Redick, even though he couldn't play a lick of defense, was at least hitting shots in that playoffs when they played the Nets and the Raptors. At least J.J. was hitting threes. Butler had his moments. But, Jimmy Butler, he had a bad game in Game 7 against the Raptors. Okay game. J.J. Redick was your best secondary option, hitting threes. These last couple playoffs, Embiid really hasn't had a partner to really help out. Am I wrong?
No.
Teams win not on just one guy. There's not many Dirk Nowitzki champions.
Right.
Where J.J. Barea is hitting big shots for you. There's not many, Kobe had Shaq. Let's not forget that, okay? Now, Jamal Murray is not Kobe, but Jamal Murray is playing better than what the Sixers had as a secondary option. I mean, LeBron and Anthony Davis, 2 very good players that are in the Western Conference Finals. Oh, it's just something to think about. Zach in Reading. Zach, you're on The Fanatic.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, dude?
My first point that came to mind when you guys were talking about Melo, I totally forgot he didn't retire.
Yeah, that's why, when I saw I went to ESPN.com at the start of the show because I always like to have it on to see what the headlines are, and boom, front page news, breaking news. Carmelo Anthony has announced his retirement. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, it's. I think the people who put him in their top 5 are one from the Lower East Side or the Bronx, and they probably would say Jadakiss is like a top 3 rapper all time. Like it's that certain type of dude where it's like, all right, man, like maybe listen to more stuff, but like
he's not today. Nobody's saying I don't think anybody's saying he's top 5, but he should. Like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I promise you, there's a guy right now eating a chopped cheese sandwich. I would tell you he's a top 5.
You're probably right.
But I will say this about the Nuggets, like as everyone is making a comparison between Jokic and Embiid, and there's one thing I wanted to say to you too, like you're absolutely right about Jamal Murray, but like it seems like everyone kind of forgot how like a depth chart works because they have serious depth, and I mean that in the sense of you have Aaron Gordon, who like was a diamond in the rough basically in Orlando. They brought him in. He had a bad first season, but like he's been balling out of control. KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, is a fantastic NBA player, completely underrated. I'd love to have him as a Sixer, but he's somebody that like no one ever seems to remember. And then look at their bench. They have Jeff Green coming off the bench. Like, I don't think people understand, like, the Nuggets are a well-oiled machine. It's not just Jokic. It's like we've never had that caliber of player coming off our bench ever.
Yeah, that's why, dude, I'll be honest, that's why I thought I was so shocked. Now, look, the Heat are up 3-0 against the Celtics, but I was shocked that the Bucks got eliminated. Now, Giannis got hurt, I get it, but the Bucks are another team like that where they have incredible depth. You know, and Bobby Portis coming off the bench for them. But you're right. I mean, the Nuggets are a deep team.
Nuggets are deep. They're well coached. Michael Malone's a fantastic coach. I mean, like, look at the teams that are left. You're basically talking about great coaching, and all I can hope in tonight's game that the Nuggets would win tonight. They would sweep, correct?
Yes, yeah, they're up 3-0. Both the Nuggets and Heat are up 3-0.
Yeah, I was making sure it was tonight. But all I can hope for is that Lonnie, as a guy from Reading, I hope Lonnie has a great night, and then everyone can just be like, well, at least they lost. But like, Lonnie had another career performance or something close to it that you can just package it with his other career performance, and then a guy from the same zip code as me can get paid. Like, I just want that for him. If nothing else in this crappy, crummy, stupid playoff run. But I want to make a Sixers point because that's who I'm talking to. Are we thinking about people to replace Tobias Harris? Are we thinking about, like, bringing in a John Collins, somebody that, like why does no one ever talk about trying to get somebody like Tristan Thompson or even, like, getting Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, one of these guys that, like, just won a championship or just had that mentality coached into them? We want Damian Lillard, sure, that's cool, but, like, what has Damian Lillard done? I understand he's a generational talent, but, like, why are we continuing to go after guys who are still in their ring chase mode but have never gotten close to it?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me Dame Lillard or Tristan Thompson, it's not even close.
As in, you would choose Dame?
Yeah. Are you thinking Klay Thompson?
What did I say? Tristan?
You said Tristan. Yeah, Tristan Thompson.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Zach. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I was being trolled for a second. Thank you for getting my ear there, Ray.
Worth something.
Because he was, like, shocked. But, dude, I would love Klay Thompson. I've been wanting Klay Thompson for a year. I mean, who wouldn't? But, yeah, Tristan Thompson, let's see. He's played 27 games in the last... Oh, no, he's bounced around. He was on 3 teams last year.
Yeah, he's not a guy I'd want over Dame.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm glad we're on the same page now. And by the way, to Brad on Twitter, Steve Nash was not on the team with Dirk. He had Jason Kidd, but that was a very old Jason Kidd. All right, everybody have a great rest of your day. Anthony will be back tomorrow. Thank you, Ray. Best show ever next right here on The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.